people that were gathering there, some of the leaders of that protest?
I cannot recall all of them.
Please give us the names of the ones you can recall.
I only recall them when everybody got arrested and picked in a truck.
The crowd that was gathered there, were they chanting or saying anything?
No.
They were just walking by?
Yeah.
So once you were standing there and the crowd was walking by, what happened?
We saw the officers chasing the other crowd from that direction coming to the other end.
Which officers are you referring to, please?
The PIU officers.
And can you please tell us how they were chasing the other crowd coming towards you?
They are chasing them to get them arrested.
Can you please tell us if the officers had anything on them that day?
Some of them have their riot gears with them. Some were carrying batons.
And can you please tell us what you observed about how they were chasing people?
Well, I cannot observe. The only thing I can observe was my own. When one of them chased me, and later it was joined by two, and they get me inside the truck.
Before you got into the truck, can you please tell us how that happened?
Well, because everybody is running for his or her own safety, so I cannot explain how this happened at that.
I'm talking about you personally. You said they chased you, and then you were put in a truck. So how were you put in a truck?
We were thrown inside the truck. I met some of my colleagues there.
Did they do anything to you before putting you inside the truck?
They just threw me inside, and I asked why. One of the officers slapped me. So I just hid myself for my safety. And when one of the old man was there, he told them that I'm not part of this, I'm not part of this, by the name Kalilu Sedikan. He told them that I was looking for my fish money at the mayor's residence. I'm not among. So I could recall one officer slapped the man twice and spoke to him in a Mandinka. And they just drove out from the place.
Can you please help us interpret what was said in Mandinka?
He told the old man that, like you are known less in a Mandinka language,
Okay, and after that, what happened?
After that, we were taken to PIU.
Roughly, can you recall how many people were put into that truck?
I cannot recall, but I think the number is 22 or 27.
Did you recognize anyone else that was put into the truck?
Yes.
Please, can you tell us the people you recognized in the truck?
In the truck, Modungom, Langmarong, Fatou Kamara, Nogoy Njai, Kalilu Sedikan, two students from Gunjur, Abokar Jite, Kafubayo, Lasana Biai, Alaji Jamme, Modu Toure, Modu Fati. I cannot recall the others. And Falang Sonko.
As far as you can recall, how many women were in that truck?
3.
That will be yourself?
Nogoy Njai, Fatou Kamara.
You also mentioned that 2 students were in that truck. How did you know that they were students?
I heard it from my colleagues when we were at the NIA.
Concentrating on that particular truck, did anything happen to you while you were in that truck? You mentioned that you were slapped. Did anything else happen to you?
Not at all.
How about the others in the truck?
I didn't see it.
Where were you taken from where you were?
PIU headquarters.
And where was this PIU headquarters?
Canifing.
From the journey from Westfield to PIU headquarters, did anything happen on the way?
No.
Did they tell you the reason why you were being arrested?
No.
Did they do anything to you while you were being driven from Westfield to the PIU?
No.
Can you please tell us what happened upon your arrival at the PIU?
Upon our arrival at the PIU, we went to a big hall where we sit down, and a panel was brought and photographs were taken. We saw some security officers from different institutions and security heads. They were discussing among themselves.
Did this happen immediately upon your arrival at the PIU, or did it take a while before that happened?
They came after our arrival.
How long did you stay at the PIU before the arrival of the security heads?
These people were immediately we were brought, they came there.
Did they charge you with any offense while you were at the PIU?
No.
Did they take your statement while you were at the PIU?
I cannot recall, no.
You mentioned that they took some pictures. Did they tell you the reason why they were taking those pictures?
No.
Can you please tell us how this taking of the picture was conducted?
They took single photos of each and every one of us. They brought some banners, and they gave it to one Mohamed Jaune and Nogoy Njai, and they took photos of the banners too, and some flyers and Rasul.
The banners that they gave you to take pictures with, where did they come from?
Well, I saw them from the security officers.
Can you recall what was written on the banners?
Among them, I saw electoral reform, and I saw another one, Jame Moscow.
You mentioned the presence of security chiefs there. Did they do or say anything while they were there?
No.
And how did you know that there were security chiefs there?
I saw them.
Who did you in particular see?
I didn't know them by then, but later Pat Kamarat and Nogoy told me, this one is the interior, this one is the IG.
And
And I could recall seeing one of the officers there who solo Sandeng took a money from his pocket and gave it to him that he should take the money to his family.
And which officer was that?
I don't know the name, but I think maybe Modungam or somebody might know, but I saw Solo giving him the money to take it to his family.
And do you know the names of these security chiefs you're referring to that were there?
I didn't know them before, but During our conversation at the prison, Fat Kamara and Nogoy told me that the interior was there and the IG.
Do you know who the interior minister was at that time?
It is Usman Sonko.
And who was the IG at that time?
I think it's Yankuba Sonko.
Did you get the chance to have a conversation among yourselves while you were gathered there at the PIU?
No.
Did they give you the opportunity to say anything while you were there?
No.
So after taking your pictures with the banners, what happened?
We were put in a separate vehicle again. I think Solo Sandeng, Nogoy Njai, Modungom, and I don't know whether Kafubayo is among them, were arranged in a pickup. The rest were parked in a truck.
Do you know the reason why you were separated then?
No.
And where were you taken?
We were taken to Mile 2 Central Prison.
Can you tell us what happened on your arrival at Mile 2 Central Prison?
On our arrival at Mile 2, our belongings were taken. We were searched, and they warned us strictly to be abide by the prison law.
Did they show you any charge sheet saying that you were charged for a particular offense or what?
No.
As at that time, can you recall the people that, because you mentioned that you were separated, can you recall the people that went with you to Mile 2?
Everybody was there except for Nogoy, Solo, and Modungom.
So Fat Kamara was with you at that time?
Yes.
Where in Mile 2 prison were you kept?
At the remand wing of the female wing.
You mentioned that you were from school on that particular day. Can you tell us, please, what you were wearing that day?
I was wearing a trouser and a top.
And did you have any other belongings with you then?
I have my hand out with me in my bag.
Was that handout taken when you arrived at Mile 2?
Well, I don't know. The bag was taken from me when we arrived at Mile 2.
Where did they keep you in Mile 2?
They kept me in a cell.
Which part of the cell? You know, there is the female wing on one side and there is the male wing. Which part of the cell were you kept?
The female wing, remand wing.
And can you please tell us the conditions in that cell?
It was very congested. Others have to lie down on the floor and others have to be on top.
And where did you lie down exactly in that congested place?
We don't have a space at that particular night, but the inmates were very supportive and they assist us that we should be strong, and they give us a place to lie down on top and they sacrifice to lie down on the floor.
How did you feel at that time being in prison?
Well, it's above explanation. And I told Fat Kamara that this is not the end. We will be taken to the NIA. He told me that if you came from a good family, you should speak something good. We haven't done anything.
Why did that thought cross your mind that you'll be taken to the NIA?
Because I've seen political opponents who got arrested, what they came across, much more that we are accused of being protesting that Jammeh must go and so on.
Can you please tell us at what time you arrived at Mile 2 prisons that day?
This was in the afternoon.
Was it before or after the afternoon prayers?
I think it's after the afternoon prayers.
What happened after you were settled in on the female remand wing?
What happened was, late hours of night, the cell was knocked and they request for us to come out. And the inmates were praying for us. They told us that they will set you free. I told them that no. They said yes. One of the female told me that I have an unwanted pregnancy, but for you, your case is just a minor case. You will be released. We prayed to each other, and they gave us a message to carry to their families. When we came out...
So at the time when you had the knock on the door, you thought you were being released, right?
I never thought so. It's the inmates who thought that we will be released.
And at what time of the day was this? You've already told us that you arrived at Mile 2 after the afternoon prayers.
Yeah. Yes. This was late hours of night.
Can you recall the time?
Well, I cannot recall, but it was very late.
So what happened afterwards?
When we came out from the prison, we were taken to the commissioner's office, and we saw the males also from the other side, the male wing. So one officer was holding my bag. I came to know her name later from Fatou Camara. I cannot speak Jola, but Fatou Camara said the lady told the NIA officers that, where are you carrying this female to? They are female. And this particular man responded that a woman who walks like a man get the payback of a man. So that was the time Fatou Camara told me that what you told me is coming. I said, what was that? She told me that, did you hear what this lady was talking to this man about? I told her.
Can you recall how many people came for you that night?
Well, I think it's their operation team, but there are many because there are many vehicles parked outside there.
Did you recognize any of the people that came for you?
The only person I can recognize is the driver.
Can you recall his name?
His name is Sheikh Tijan Kamara.
Apart from Sheikh Tijan Kamara, can you recognize any distinct feature in any of the people that came for you?
No, even Sheikh Omar, I came to know him when I was admitted at the hospital, when he came to see a colleague at the hospital.
Is it Sheikh Omar or Sheikh Tijan Kamara? Which one is it?
Sorry, it's Sheikh Tijan Kamara.
Thank you very much. After this particular NIA operative said that to you, what came to your mind then?
Can you repeat the question?
After they told you that, sorry, I can't say it in plain English. A woman that does a man's work, something like that. You mentioned it earlier. I can't recall all of it.
Yeah.
After he said that to you, what happened?
That was the time we were taken to the NIA. When they finished the conversation, they speak with the commissioner and the securities at the Mile 2. Then we were later escorted to NIA.
As far as you can recall, did the prison authorities protest when they were taking you out of prison at that particular time of the night?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Did the prison authorities protest when they were removing you from prison at that particular time of the night?
Whether they were protected?
Whether they protested against it?
No. It's only the female prisoner who spoke to this man in their language.
And what did she tell them?
I can't speak the language. Fat Kamara told me that a guy told him that this is very unfair, these people are female, so you need to be very mindful. And he told him that a female who behaves like a man, you pay him a man job.
After that, where were you taken?
We are drove into the NIA.
At that point, being escorted in the middle of the night, how did you feel?
Well, I feel skeptical because when they take me to NIA, I believe anything can happen.
As far as you can recall, the people that came for you, were they all male or did they have some females among them?
They are all male.
Being in the midst of an all-male entourage operative of the NIA at that time of the night, what came to your mind?
A lot has came to my mind, but I cannot do anything about it.
Can you please tell us exactly like what crossed your mind then?
Well, I cannot.
It's understandable. We'll proceed. So these all-male entourage escorted you to the NIA. Can you tell us how you were taken to the NIA from the prisons?
In the truck, I and Fat Kamara, we were at the middle. One escort was in the left hand and another escort was at the right hand. At the back of the pickup also is filled with men from the NIA.
While transporting you to the NIA, did they say anything to you on the way?
Those at the back were communicating. They were having a telephone conversation, but we can't hear them and we can't see outside because the vehicle was tinted. So
upon arrival at the NIA, can you please tell us what happened from the time the vehicle entered into the premises?
When the vehicle entered, I, Fatu Kamara and Lamaro, we were taken to the same place where we were interrogated by one female. And this lady kept insisting on questions that if she asks me who are behind the protest, if I say I didn't know, she kept mentioning name. These are the one. I said, no, I didn't know. She went to an extent of telling me that Mr. Dabo is part of it. I said, no. And who are the sponsor of this problem? I said, I don't know. So it was later after the interrogation, another one was taking Fat Kamara's statement and Lamaro. One man came in. He speak in a Mandinka. He asked the lady whether she speaks. He said, no, she's not cooperating. He went to Langmarong and told Langmarong that you are an elderly man, you don't want to speak, but if we deal with you, you will talk.
At the time when they were interrogating you, taking your statement, did they caution you?
Caution me on what?
Did they tell you like, whatever you say will be used against you in court, or that you are charged for a particular offense?
No.
Were they writing down everything you were saying?
They were not writing what I was saying. This lady is just writing what she feels is okay for her. When I say so, she write, and she never saw me the statement. She just wrote it and kept it.
How did the lady appear to you?
Well, I cannot recall. She's not friendly at all. She's just pressuring me to say things that were not okay for me.
Can you recall the name of this lady?
I didn't know the name of the lady, but she's a sizable woman like you. She's fair in complexion a bit. That's the way I can describe her.
The person that came in and interrupted and asked if you have answered her questions, can you recall who it was?
I cannot recall, but when I heard the voice anywhere, I will recall that this is the one.
And what did this person do when he entered in?
He spoke to me and left and went to Lamarong also and told him that you don't want to talk, but if we deal with you, you will talk.
Can you please describe the setting of that place where you were seated and being asked questions?
Like, if you come inside the NIA, I think it's this end. Yeah. If you, I cannot, it's just like the right-hand side. If you came in, just turn right.
And can you please tell us what happened after your interrogation with this lady?
After the interrogation, a tall man came inside the room. He put on a T-shirt and a military trouser. He just checked me, and I fall down where Fat Camara is. Fat Camara's out. She told him, "You are killing me." He said, "Why should you even allow them to sit on the seat?" And this man just grabbed Fat Camara and take him to the confinement where she was tortured, and later came back for me and Lamaro.
At the time when the man entered, can you please tell us the position with which you were in at that time?
I was sitting like the way I was sitting talking to you, and he came in and checked me. Fat Camara was sitting there, Langmarong was sitting there, and there are other people sitting around.
Where exactly did he kick you?
At my waist.
What happened after he kicked you?
I fell down where Fat Camara was, and Fat Camara's out. So, but we cannot do anything.
At this point, did the man say anything to you?
He said they should not even allow us to sit on their chairs. Why should the lady allow us to sit on their chairs? So we all sit down and on the floor and continue with continue giving out our statement until when he came back to collect us one by one.
At this point, when the man entered and kicked you and you fell on the ground and you continued sitting on the ground and you were interrogated, how did you feel?
Well, I cannot tell.
Can you please just help us describe what was going through your mind at that time?
Well, by then I think I was between death and life. I was between life and death.
You were scared.
Yes.
How about Fatou Camara? Did the same thing happen to her, like interrogating her and collecting her statement?
Yes.
Can you please tell us about what happened to her?
Well, I think after that, they just pick her and take her to the confinement where she was tortured.
You mentioned Alamin Maro. Where was he when this was happening?
He was inside the same room with us.
Did anything happen to him?
Well, we were sitting where the man is coming, and he's sitting at the corner.
When the man kicked you on your waist, did you have any injuries as a result of that?
I still experience pain from that end, but the injuries that I have was when I was tortured.
Concentrating on what happened in that room, after they wrote your statement, did they read out your statement to you?
No.
Did they ask you to sign the statement?
Well, I think I did so. This lady was taking this statement with a laptop, I believe. I cannot recall.
Apart from this lady and the man that you said entered and kicked you, was there any other operative in the room?
Except the man who came in and asked the lady whether I was complying.
Can you recall the name of the man that entered and kicked you?
The one who kicked me? Yes. I cannot recall the name. I cannot.
You did mention that he was putting on a military shorts, right? Trousers.
Yeah.
Can you please describe him?
He's a tall man.
Is there any distinct feature that you can name that will make us have a mental picture of who this person is?
Well, no.
Apart from the person entering, asking you whether, asking the lady whether you are complying with whatever she is asking you, did you hear anything else that will make you recognize any of the people that were in that room?
Sorry, can you repeat the question for me?
Apart from the man that entered asking the lady if you are complying with whatever she was asking you, did they say anything that will make you recognize who they were?
No.
After you were interrogated, can you please tell us what happened?
I was later grabbed by that same man who picked that camera and taken to the torture room.
Can you please describe what you refer to as the torture room?
The confinement area where we were beaten.
You did mention earlier that the place where you were interrogated was the first building on your right when you entered into the NIA. Can you describe where you were taken to be tortured?
This man just grabbed me from where I am sitting, then he turned back and went this way around.
And what happened when he took you?
When he took me there, they stretched me on top of a table. They pour water on me.
You mentioned this man grabbed me and took me there. That is one individual. Now, when he took you into that room, how many people were in that room?
I was blindfolded before I get to that place. But through the image, I can see there are around 20 or more.
You mentioned being blindfolded. What was used to blindfold you?
They have a scarf, form of scarf that they use to tie people's head, but they use my own hair tie to tie my face together with my head.
At what point were you blindfolded?
Immediately he grabbed me. Before we left the room, he just took the hair tie and tied my face.
Was it the same man that took you inside, that took your head tie to blindfold you?
Yes.
When he blindfolded you and led you into that room, can you please tell us what happened?
I was stretched on top of a table. They were pouring water on me. I cannot breathe, neither to move. So some of them hold my hands, some of them hold my legs, and some started beating me up.
Just so that we'll reach the wider audience, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask if the witness can continue her evidence in Mandinka so that the wider audience will get a better picture of what she's saying, given that it's about a human rights violation that occurred. Maybe we'll give the wider audience a chance to also listen to what happened to her. Ms. Jawara, are you comfortable with continuing your evidence in Mandinka?
It's okay, yes.
Thank you very much.
Fine, that's okay. Counsel, you may continue if that's okay with the witness. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll just give time to the interpreters to switch. Well, thank you very much. So we'll start from the point where you were in the room and you were blindfolded. And you will start from narrating from that point in Mandinka. You can go ahead, please.
When I was blindfolded and taken into the room,
I was stretched on a table. Some held onto my hands, others held onto my legs. They continued the beatings from there. Before the beatings, they started pouring water on me until I nearly fainted. And then they continued with the beatings.
The beating, they don't choose, they can beat me at any part of my body. They were beating from my head to the other parts of my body. They beat me up to the point when they were satisfied. That's the time when they took me to the room where that panel was seated.
You mentioned that they poured water on you before they started beating you. What was the temperature of the water they poured on you?
It was cold.
The cold you were referring to, is it freezing cold as in from the fridge, or was it normal cold water from the tap?
Ako ekasumaya memfoteng amunta jio membota frijo kono wala mengalas mamu wala fodum pompito jiole membe sumayari menni pompito jiola sumaya kanyanta.
Ala la long abota damen to bari ab sumayari ne.
Well, only God knows where it's from, but it was cold.
You said you were being beaten everywhere on the part of your body.
Yes.
Could you feel what they were using to beat you?
Nyada nin kungo bebe sitirin ne bari amuntan fe ko batino lem do ko nyin ala bamba nyaka amuntan fe ko batino lem.
Well, as my eyes and head were tied up, but it looks like they were using a baton on me because it was something very strong.
You did also mention that your eyes were tied. How about your nose? Were you able to breathe freely by virtue of the cloth that was used to tie your eyes?
Sitiro nyin keta nyamen ite ni jino le ite dunia ken fenne kenola because ya sitile abambanta ni jidula abuka soto ka muru nyada bala kana murundi ton ko maka siti wala tin liparo wato jampata nyaonyang amam firino.
Well, how they tied it was very strong. In fact, it came up to the point of my nose, and they tied it behind my head. Well, to breathe was very difficult for me. They went on beating, but however the beating was intense, this knot was unable to be untied. They kept on beating me with the knot tied around my head and around my head.
The water that you said that was poured on you, was it poured on only your body? How about the other parts of your body, like your head?
Akoye jio memboy kangonya. Abfutate balo dula bele makari kaboy kumoto fokata balo be kambam fo jio dante balo mintole.
Jio nyum fanan na bongo ye wati janneta janni kaliparo kumasi.
The pouring of the water took a long time before the beating started.
So in the beginning, they poured water on you and waited for a while.
Ako amunta folota nyamen ye jiole folo bongi kan fa meta do manding ye batu ko la lo minata liparo damuta.
Batundiro mankeje biritole jioke kam foi fongoli alon ko nyim jambe siratale babalo sinantale kende ke droye liparo komasi woldo.
There was no waiting. After they poured water on me until they were satisfied that my whole body was wet, that was when the beating started.
You did tell us earlier in your evidence that the day you were arrested, you were wearing trousers. Were you wearing the same trousers when you went to the NIA?
Honey?
No.
What were you wearing?
Birimbita NIA ngafano le city.
When I was going to the NIA, I was putting on a wrapper.
And where did you get this wrapper from?
I get the wrapper from an inmate. Sorry. Fano nyinga bondi prisoner dole bulumail to Wolem Fuala, Kabrin Kanala.
I was borrowed a wrapper by one of the inmates from the prison when I was coming.
As at the time they were beating you, was your wrapper still on?
The first beating,
at that
time I can recall I was still on the wrapper. But after the first beating, that was when I was brought to the panel room.
My apologies. For how long did that beating last?
It was a long time.
Can you estimate how long you were lying there and being beaten?
Wato nyin jam fatale biri fangol ye liparo ke foyaje ko nyimbuka mamanu abuka fenkeno utumole yem faiduma.
The beatings took a long time. It was until they realized that this guy was not making any movement, that was when I was pushed down.
Biri yem faiduma yen kuruntule.
When I was pushed down, I was being dragged
from panel room
until I got into the panel room.
Panel room wonyinto ngamo jama bal taraje.
At the panel room, I found many people. When they started questioning me, I was unable to talk.
You mentioned that after they've beaten you for several times, you were not able to move. You were pulled away from the table and thrown aside. At that point, can you tell us the injuries he had sustained from that beating?
At
that time, many parts of my body suffered cuts. I was then thrown down. It's not as if they carried me from the table and brought me down. I was thrown down. And then I was dragged to that room to be questioned again.
Before you were dragged to the questioning room, did they remove the blindfold from your face?
It was when I got to the door, that was when it was untied. Then I was taken inside and made to sit. At that time, I was unable to sit, I was unable to do anything. Then I fell. And so they took a camera. And then they forced me to sit down again. I used to hear people speaking, but I was not able to see them or even to realize what was going on. But I hear voices and I hear them questioning. The same questions are the ones that they continued asking. They were asking me, who are you involved in this, that I should name them? And then they followed me, trying to find out if Lawyer Dabo is aware of what was happening. I was not able to hear them, but to realize what was being said, but I kept telling them that he had nothing to do with what was happening.
The panel that you were brought before, I understand that you said you were not very conscious then. But can you recall how many people were seated there? There
were many people. And the questioning also, they will be asking you questions almost at the same time.
Do you know if the panel that was questioning you, do you know whether they were all NIA operatives or whether they were from other security outlets?
Ma along fodol sibo fana dola bare na jikoto jamal be NIA jele.
I do not know if some of them could have come from other security outlets, but my belief is that most of them were NIA officers.
You also mentioned that you were being questioned and asked about who had planned the demonstration. Apart from those kind of questions, did they ask you any other type of questions?
Tumado nyininkaro dol nata kele botumo mbelari loptanodo.
At that time, perhaps some other questions that they were asking I wasn't aware, but there was a subsequent questioning that happened while I was admitted at the hospital.
You mentioned that you were taken immediately from the torture room before the panel. At that point, was it visible to the panel members that you were tortured?
Ako tembo fo menu be o panelo to fon lu ya cross le ban ko ibotete li pala le ban.
Ibeba kala mutarene.
All of them were aware.
Kanto o time on tolbe ali halo minto.
Because at that time, the condition that we were in,
Nimmomo hakilo be bala.
Anybody within their right senses,
if
you should see a human being in that condition,
you
will know that something happened to this individual. Because they brought me and they brought Fatou Camara. And I think there was a video which was also in the possession of some lawyers. Even if a lot of it was erased, I think some of that video was out in the public.
So it was quite visible to the members of the panel then that you were tortured.
Yes.
You also mentioned Fatou Camara. Do you know what happened to her?
Yes, because at that time I used to hear screams. And the scream was the voice of Fatou Camara. And when she was brought where I was seated, that was where she was made to rest on her back there. When I touched her, I then realized that this was a woman.
And the groans which were coming from her.
Because Nogai was more built than all of us. And while we were going to the NIA, we were arranged together. So that was why when I saw that, I knew that that was Fatou Camara.
Thank you very much, Madam Witness. Mr. Chairman, I can already see that it's time for our first break. Maybe this will be a convenient time to stop and then proceed after the break.
Lawyer ko ayajelo ko na daha follow watu sitale woto asibete ajang nam fonyo demanding for daha follow uchewe bala.
Thank you very much, Council. We will take a 30-minute break and come back at 12 noon. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
So sometimes while we were lying down, when they are discussing, we used to pick up some of the things they said.
Thank you very much for that clarification. So can you please move on from the time you were before the panel. After that, what happened?
Ako silang bring yali samba o panelo nyati lungula unyinin karol katadu biro bota. Mune natake.
Biri kata kuoke la tanga mol minuto fo kol da bije purisita wol fanan no manson.
After they made several attempts to make me name individuals who were part of the protest, and I refused.
Bari ngalon kontol katatare okaba.
Because I knew that we were already in troubles.
So
it was better that we remained in their hands than to name other individuals. That was when I was removed from there and dragged to another small room.
Just before we get into what happened in that room, you had mentioned seeing Fatu Kamara before the panel. How about Lang Marong?
Lang Marong
Lang Marong did not come in my presence. They took us away and transferred us.
The room that they placed you in after you finished with the panel, was it still within the NIA premises?
Buonyimbe ena ela korda bale kono ni bota wo bungoto dron ika futa li pardulale ni bota li pardulale ko bungole soto ena panel room soto.
The room is within the NIA complex. When you come out of the place of torture, you get into that small room.
Were you the only one that was taken into that room?
Nte bitala je wato menna yenya sitilen kiline bije fo kewol minu bije.
The time that they were taking me there, I was blindfolded.
About this time, what did they use to blindfold you?
Yo bribe sambala wo bundi kono koteke ye latiko le sen kanta ke nya sitiala bang fodu ye fendo leta.
Njikita ko nyabe sitiri ne bari malo e mum fenneta bari ngamera o kilingolem.
I was blindfolded, but I think it's the same material they used.
When you were blindfolded the first time, you were taken into the torture room. What came to your mind when you were blindfolded the second time?
Ngamuta ko sai katam fale drom bari li paro men ketan na kan ni nyasiti ko te ngamuta ko sai mbe wati batungol la drom.
Well, I thought that they were going to kill me given the kind of beatings that was meted out to me. This time around I said, well, it was just a matter of waiting for my time to come.
So what happened after you were blindfolded and led into this other room?
When they took me into that small room, the person whose voice I recognized was Omar Jeng.
Because at that time I cannot recognize some people. I just people as shadows.
This Sheikh Omar Jeng you're referring to, who was he?
I can't say Omar Jeng mem for Jumalem.
Atelem operation commander at the NIA.
He was the operations commander at the NIA at that time.
Prior to this particular incident, did you know him?
Honey?
No.
How come you were able to recognize his voice even when you were blindfolded?
He was talking to me with
he was talking to me with anger.
Executive position.
He was saying to me, you want to prove to us that you have wisdom, you are man in an executive position, and yet you say that you know nothing about this issue.
You mentioned that prior to this particular incident, you did not know Sheikh Omar Jeng. And when he spoke in that room, you recognized his voice. I just want to know how you were able to recognize his voice, given that you did not know him before then.
Natara council sinso no nga futa odula to fana mba fala ne me ati na nga kan sute.
If the council will allow me, I will explain when we reach that part how I got to know him.
Very well then. So tell us what happened in that room.
That was when he said to me, if you don't speak, these men that are here, all of them, I'll ask them to have intercourse with you. I said to him, I have never been stubborn.
I told him that I have never been involved in that type of life. And when I was given to my husband, he found me to be a virgin. And from that, I have never known any other man in my life. They all started shouting and laughing at me. That was the time I fell down again because of intense pain that I was feeling throughout my body.
When I came to become conscious, then I was taken back and I was beaten again. But that beating did not take long.
While you were in that room, and as the time when Sheikh Omar told you that he is going to allow the men there to rape you, were you fully conscious then?
Jato ben dimi kan nembe dunia da mento ala dron na yalon bari ngang kuma kangol minu foye wolbe senayari mal ko mi ngafoko nka dia munole wati dol dia mosikanama bari ngam min foye wo senayata le tumole yen kuruntu kota ke en fintindi bu ngoni kono.
Well, at that time I was semi-conscious, but sometimes I hear voices and I hear what they used to say. But I want to make it clear, when they were raping me, I was not conscious.
No. I want to make this clear. It has never came to my notice that I got raped.
Very well. So as at the time you were in that room with those men, were you conscious throughout that period?
This is what I am saying. When I came out of the first room, I was in the hands of God. But as a human being, in some situations, if something's happened to you, you are either able to tell or not able to. But if it comes to things like your life, if for instance somebody puts a knife on your throat, you will be able to be conscious of that. So that was how they came and dragged me away and threw me in another room. And I found Fatu Kamara lying on the ground. The whole of her body was with injury and she was groaning. And then they brought Nogoy. When they placed Nogoy, she fell on a part of my body.
So, and
I screamed and I said to her, you are killing me. That was when she could recognize me and she held on to me.
While you were in that room,
Albe bun kono to moment.
Were you tortured at any point?
Fodo inatali lipa jele fanambang.
In
that room, I was not conscious of what was happening.
Nogoy
later told me that you two died. Constantly. He used to call me. After that, when they came and removed me out of the room, and I was admitted at the hospital, I was there with the doctor. Sir Omar Jen came there. After I regained consciousness, as soon as he came in, I screamed. Fatu Kamara said to me, "Do you want them to come and kill you? What are you doing?"
So
that was when he came and said, "Try and eat something. And when you regain strength, you will be discharged." Sir Omar was unable to go home most times because all he thought was that we will recover our strength and go home. He said that to me personally, that there was so much talk in town. Even his relatives used to call him and talk to him about this issue. But each day he speaks, I was always afraid, so I never responded to him. Nogoy said to me, "Let's just bear so that we just escape from their grip." Fatu Kamara too used to advise me on that.
But the words he told me in that room, whenever I see him, those are the words I remember immediately. He was not the only one who used to come to the hospital. But what he told me, the words he told me, this is why I used to recognize his voice wherever I hear him talking.
So the words that he told you about allowing the men there to do whatever they wanted with you, that still lingered on till today.
Akoyo kumakangulu menu foyi obunkono ko abe wokewlu be bulala ye lanyo ya amunta wole be sondo mo kono fukana bula bila
wokumole ben sondo mo kono ndom biraba fola fanan amaka ngoji ngaka ngo moyle asenayata modulato mantara timmari nyango nyambara tela kango nyi wo mankanama.
Well, I heard his voice distinctly, although I was semi-conscious, but it was frightening. This is why I am still unable to remember those words.
Ngado fanan to remember ngado fanan to mutan hakilo kono liparobe kiri watu menne ka fay ko tamba.
I can recall also another person at the time when the beatings were taking place, and he's called Tamba. They used to call each other, and they call him Tamba. And other names that I cannot recall.
Was this during the first beating?
I heard Tamba's name during the course of the first beatings.
So during the course of the first beating, you had them mention the name Tamba.
Yes.
And as at the time they put you in another room, that was when Sheikh Omar Jeng's voice remained in your head, which made it possible for you to recognize him when he spoke at the hospital. Correct?
Yes.
So when you were taken from that room into the other room, were you fully aware of what was happening around your surroundings?
The room that they took me to, where I was together with Nyogoy and the others, while we were at the hospital, Nogoy said when I relapsed again, she said that the doctors came and took me. My mind was on that, on Sheikh Omar calling me. Even when I am sleeping in the night, I used to dream of him calling me.
You were afraid of this Sheikh Omar?
Yes, I'm afraid of him, of course. And there was this day, I was lying on my hospital bed, and I said to him, Say Omar, you are the head of this place, and you said that you normally don't beat people here. I said to him, for instance, if someone troubles and troubled someone outside, and that person did not beat up that person outside there, but brought the person to your house, I said to him, in the Mandinka setting, how would you analyze that? He said to me, I don't have any power on that. I said to him, now that you have beaten us here and our bodies are all torn, our blood is oozing out of our body, and we said it to the doctor, and he goes and just buys any medicine he feels like buying and brings it. I said to him, the things that are on me, they are all destroyed. That was when he gave money to one lady. The woman went and bought two dresses for each one of us.
As at the time you were taken to the second room, you told us that during the first torture, you had your wrapper on. As at the time you were being taken to the second room, did you still have your wrapper on there?
I regained consciousness while I was at the hospital, but yes, the wrapper was still on me. Nogoy, she had gone because at that time she was the one who was able to go around and bring things for us. After things passed, she went and picked up the head tie of Fatu Kamara to tie her head because she was complaining of a headache. But at that time, my wrapper was with me, on me.
Now let's talk about the injuries you sustained as a result of what you've been through. Can you please explain to us the kind of injuries you sustained on your body? There were a lot of injuries on my body. From that time up to this date, I am still healing myself. Well, they took pictures of some of the wounds on my body when the day I came to the TRRC here. I gave it to a lady. I told her to show it to the people here. Because she explained to me that this is going to be confidential between myself and you. Can you please tell us which part of your body had injuries? Well, the wounds are on my back, on my buttocks, up to my thighs, where they all have the marks of these wounds. And up to date, these wounds still pain me.
Sometimes I feel itching of the area of the wound. Sometimes the internal part pains me. Sometimes when the pain started again from my neck up to my waist, I don't sleep at night. Sometimes one of my leg gets limp even if I stand for some time. All of those things are still troubling me. If I sit down also for a long time, I feel some pain. Sometimes it's very difficult for me. But with the help of Allah, I'm still taking medication time to time. Sometimes ago, maybe 2 months ago, I was admitted at the main hospital in Banjul on 2 occasions. If I leave the hospital, I continue to look for medication.
Just to help us get a picture of the injuries of the 3 of you when you were put into the other separate room.
Ako puruka kusenu soto albalajato labaramo to biriyali mo sabo bula wo bundo kono.
I understand you said that you were semi-conscious then.
Yenyim foko wato soto nda otembo amunta ibe keturim mulunkele.
But you did clearly recognize Fatu Kamara there.
Bari ya Fatu Kamara o ken sute jele.
And you also saw Nogoy there.
Andu ya Nogoy fananje bungo kono je biriyanati.
Can you please tell us the injuries that they had on their bodies
while
you were in that room?
I came to see their wounds while we were together at the hospital. Fata Kamara, she had a wound at her hand, and also her body was also injured. Because at that time we were all discharging blood. Nogoi too, one of our fingers was broken. One of our toes also, she said after they questioned her until they were tired, she said that the one that was interrogating her stepped on her toe with his boot, and it broke.
She had to tie up her toenail in a cloth until the day they were released from the hospital. And some of the nerves around her eyes were also infected. She keeps on begging them, help me to heal my eyes before I leave this place. Fat Kamara becomes annoyed sometimes and tells her, you don't think properly. All the things these people did to you, so you are thinking of getting healed here. Because at that time, Sheikh Omar was fooling them, telling them that if you get well, you will be released. And Nogoy used to say that she will feel ashamed to go out with those wounds on her face, especially she doesn't want people who are in the other parties to see her like that.
Se Omar langani yo momenti wolem nyinti furuntolo ngatano court bari court ya fole ko ngata court bari mbukata mano mbuka fenkeno wala tinna mbukata no mbukata.
Se Omar's intention was to see that we went to court because the court wanted us to appear, but at that time we could not walk, we could not do anything, so we couldn't go to the court.
Sai wo kumol menu be siari ngaka wala tinna ka mol nene purungam fam bambandi.
But the was on him. That was what was the reason why he used to encourage us to strengthen us so that we
to the hospital.
jara rodamu.
Security la kuntiyo donata.
One of their security chiefs came.
Ngamera atomu James leti.
I think his name is James.
Akoyem fintindi en samba bamba dinka.
He said that they should remove us and take us to Babadinka.
You did tell us that from the other room, the three of you were packed into another room. I just wanted to know how long it took before they attended to your wounds while you were in that room.
I was not in control of my faculties at the time, but Nogoy said that. They said he said they were just sitting and then they noticed that I fell.
So akate kuobeke amanfenkiwe no aburita watole.
She said she did all she could, but nothing could happen, and then that was the time she screamed. They came and I think they wanted to give me water, but she said to them, leave her alone. Do you want to kill her? It was after that Nogoy said these things to me while we were at the hospital, because at the time Fatou Kamara was also experiencing what I was going through.
While you were in that room, were you given any food?
At that room was downstairs. When they beat us, they just threw us there, so I don't know what happened there.
Will I be correct to say that from the time they pulled you out of the second interrogation room, you were unconscious till the time you went to the hospital within the NIA itself?
Kabrin wato me yali fintindi obundo kono yalundi jana wa munta utumo imam boy fankala made hanfo wato men yali samba ena ewla loptano toji
Nogo yemi mfonya ko mbenu njele fotili saba manyayele.
What Nogo said to me was that I was there for 3 days and I did not open my eyes.
For 3 days you were unconscious. And during that 3 days, did they administer any medicine to you? That is, if you know.
What I came to know was what they used to pump into people. Because they said they were going to inject me, but I refused. But given the way that my body was swollen, there was something that they used to spray on me so that that could diminish the pain.
You also told us that you were discharging, one of your injuries was the discharge of blood. When did that start?
Well, what I came to know is that I was bleeding outside, externally. But also I realized that I was urinating blood.
When did you start urinating blood?
What did you malo ya damuta ka yelo jalamuta?
Biring be wolopta to wodron ne katukelana fonna ta mile 2 kata fokari jama.
At the time that I was in that hospital, that was what was happened to me before I went to mile 2, and that continued for several months.
Let me just recap what you said so that you can confirm it. After your interrogation before the panel,
Biring alibota panelo nyatilungula yali nyinin ka daming.
you were taken into a room,
Yali samba bungo do kono.
blindfolded,
Wotumo nyabe sitiring.
and you were not aware of anything that happened in that room.
Imambo kuo kundin kala menketela wo bungo kono.
From then on, you were unconscious for 3 days.
Kabojelom itarta imambo ifankala hani fotili saba.
It was later you found yourself in the hospital.
Okola long inate fanje wo lopta nindun kono.
Is that a correct narrative of what happened?
Fodum aketa wole nyama bang.
Mbuka bon fan kala mabar ninga diamulu mo insi nke moyle wati dolo.
I was not fully conscious, but when I hear some voices, I can understand what was said.
Can you tell us where that hospital was located in the NIA premises?
Foisa fono nye wo lopta no membe NIA la uso kono jabe NIA la usansan kono minto mafan.
Ntela na mandung NIA na manke osuto me yendundi je.
I've never been to the NIA until that night that I was taken in.
Adung minutata yembula temale ye benakirinna.
And those that took me, I was in their middle, and they were close by me. You could not even raise your head. But as we were going, in my own thinking, the hospital would be within the middle of the NIA complex.
At that hospital, who attended to you? Can you recall who?
Jumale topotoje foi hakilo sibula mari lalaba.
Leptano nyinkono doctorol minu benkunnaje.
The doctors that were there at the hospital,
kilingoto mu Fat Dabolti.
One of them's name is Fatu Dabo.
Ani Lamin Lansanyang.
And Lamin Langsanyang.
Sunkuto do fanam bije ka fa Sariba.
There is also one girl, they call her Saroba.
Ate fanam mu NIA Tibarabe School of Nurse really.
She too is an NIA officer, but she was at the School of Nursing.
At the hospital, did the doctors tell you the cause of your bleeding?
For Dr. la ya foi ne muna ya sabu foi lobe bole bala.
Dr. Omim bije
the doctor that was attending me was Lamin Langsanyang.
Ila dimo fa prescription bala aka body pain damale kije.
When you tell him what was paining you on the prescription, he will just write body pain.
Yeta ye wasanna.
And so they will go and buy that.
But
these two women, Fat Dabo and Saroba, but they showed me their intentions and all their efforts. They did all of that very well.
Saroba,
because she was from Kanilai, in my thinking, probably she did not want to say exactly what the situation was.
But the
intention and the efforts that she did for me during the course of our work, I have seen that. And Fatu Dabo too is the same. But in that hospital, some used to come there. They will never allow them to enter. Because in that hospital, even amongst themselves, they used to hide from each other. Some people are working there, but when you ask them their names, they will give you a different name.
There are some people working there who were working in fear. Because the suspicion was that some of the junglers who were recruited were brought there. And they didn't know what type of work those people were there to do. The junglers used to torture people, and after the torturing, they at the hospital, they just take care of them and try to treat them. And the nurses working at that hospital, Just as I said, Fadabo and Sariba were really in fear. But Sanyang does everything with them. Because he's working at the Serekunda General Hospital. But he is also an NIA officer. If the NIA commit any torturing in secret or whatever, he is the guy who takes care of those people to treat them.
As at the time you were at the hospital in the NIA, did you feel any pain when you urinate? Because you mentioned that you do discharge blood when you urinate.
Ako fo ebije tumo men fo dimingo ke mutale bang wato men ko ka yelo jala muta.
Dimo kanyo mambo ben mfele dron nin dimo le musuto tilimbuka sino mbuka lano mbuka fenkeno.
Well, I was in pain constantly, day and night. Sometimes I don't sleep. I cannot stand, I cannot lie down. I was just in pain continuously. People used to bath me. People take me up to sit down. As I said, Nogoy sometimes is the person who used to crawl. But for herself and Fat Camara were all sitting in wheelchairs.
Sitting on a wheelchair, you say, meaning you were not able to walk at that time?
Yes.
For how long were you not able to walk on your own?
The day that we tried and walked a little bit was the day that we heard that we were going to appear in court. That day the police came there to take our statements. In fact, that statement, the manner in which they were given, only God knows. Because it was Sir Omar who escorted us to one room. And then they took our statements. One took Nogoy's, the other took Fatu Kamara's. Forget, the one who took my own is either for the Kombosilla with the police. And he said to me, whatever happened, say it. And we have been hearing these things for a long time. And we used to deny them. But say them. Whatever has to happen, let it happen. To the hospital.
So you
some changed their state. Taken at the NIA. Do you know Fatu Jawara? Also one hole, which is the restroom. That is where we used to take care of our personal hygiene and also to perform ablution.
What was the proximity between the toilet and where you were lying down?
Keno membe o jong kongoning alla la dulate ma keno be nyaadi la jam fatale fodu be nyobalan.
Keno nin doya kala comme jong ko bunda felen tol be la renjam.
The space was small, just like this is where the restroom was, and we used to lie here.
Did the place have any ventilation?
Honey?
No.
How did it feel being in that tight spot where the toilet is not far from where you lie down?
woto dum be nyaadile wayri jonkongo be je bala je be detering albelari wo dinkira klingoto
ngatara nyame ngamuta wala nyama.
Well, we just took it the way we found it.
Can you please describe the smell of that particular place?
wo dinkira je sun kango be nu nyaadile afonye
Yala wodula mu dula lelti dame yalo e kamolel dundi je.
You know, that is the place where people used to be taken into.
Adun jama jama mo mantora ringol le kadunje.
And most of the time, it's only people that have been eaten that used to be taken there.
Inanamanaka darap palinya wala fendo.
They've never come to change the bed sheet or anything. Or to say that there is anything by way of personal hygiene which we could use at the toilet. We were in that situation just like that. And that was where we were taken from to the court when our health began to improve.
How did you come to know that that is the place referred to as Bambadinka?
Yalo nyaadile o dinkira e kafojele Bambadinka.
Ngamirale mbota min kono anina tan dundi damen to nana man seloje mimbe ko.
I thought about where we were from and where we were, and I have never seen a cell like that.
Bari bundam ol yewol le yele foyna ta futa odulato. Because you opened several doors before you eventually got there. That was why when we got there, I came to the conclusion that this is Bambadinka.
Can you recall how many days you spent in that cell?
I cannot recall, but we spent a considerable time there.
You were arrested on the 14th of April 2016, right?
April 2016 for Walembang.
Yes.
On that very day, you were taken to Mile 2 prisons, correct?
Yes.
On the day you arrived at Mile 2, that very night you were taken to the NIA premises, correct? After you arrived at the NIA, you were tortured on that very day, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
You were also taken before the panel on that day, correct?
It could be the second day because at that time, it was not yet daylight, but we were almost at the tail end of the day.
After the panel, that's when you were taken into the other room where you were unconscious for 3 days.
Hani Cheikh Omar yen silandi bungo men kono birim bota woto le natam mfay nyum bundo kono ngafat kamara nyol tara wolto.
No, it was where Cheikh Omar threatened me in that room, and it was after they took us from there that they threw me in this room where I met Fatou Kamara and Nogoy.
So already before then you had spent about a week at the NIA premises.
Janni mumbekela.
Before you were taken to the hospital, you had spent about a week at the NIA, correct?
hani butero subalem birim fano keta tilo la pinto wato ngamra wato len biriya jen be ali halo men na talande loptan.
It was the morning after the beatings, just as the sun was rising. I think after they saw the condition of our bodies, that was when they took us to the hospital.
So all in all, calculating that you said you spent about 9 days at the hospital.
Amunta beka burin kafurin nyoma amunta aliye tilikonon toleke o loptano.
Malum fasi wasino wala da sabarinta la kontiroto dal ngamera ngatili konon toleke jenatan samba bamba dinka.
I am not sure. It could be 9 days or even less than that. But in my own estimation, it was 9 days, and it was after that that we were taken to Bambadinka.
So after you were released and taken to court, can you tell us what happened?
Sayem briyali bula in Atali Samba court afonye munenatake.
Biri ntata court na mabe follow court.
When we went to the court during the first hearing,
lawyer left an statement notala.
The lawyer wanted to take our statements.
Prison official and PIU official bebe sirin kuntole.
The prison officers and the PIU were all sitting with us.
Manna statement odino laftanyame.
So we could not give our statement the way we wanted it.
Adum manna baramul fana itandino loyal.
And we could not also show our injuries to the lawyer.
Court nata foko yen samba mile 2.
Court now gave order that we be taken to mile 2.
Biring woliofo.
After that was said,
they
did not listen to them. They instead took us back to the NIA. I think it is almost about 2 times that the court ordered that we be taken to mile 2, but they will never agree. The day that they took us out to mile 2, we were on our own in mile 2. I cannot say that all prison officers are wicked. There were good ones amongst them. Those that we have seen their assistance, and also they also empathize with our situation. But everyone ran away from us because people were scared. So we were on our own. When our people come to visit us, prisoner opportunity men some of the opportunities that the other prisoners had, we did not have. The time that they used to give them, they don't give us the same amount of time. That was the first time we were there. And also your family, just as where you are now seated, they will be seated there, and you will be here, and you will be greeting each other, and then they will release them and tell them to go home. And when they leave, then they will take you back to the cell, because they never want to take you inside the cell in the presence of your relatives. And when you are discussing with your family members, the police officers used to sit down and be listening. And they don't even allow you to shake their hands, much more to get close to them.
Sorry for interrupting you. You've already told us that you were married at that time. Did you have any kids?
Yes, at that time I had 3 children.
How old were your children?
8 years, 9.
At that time, my eldest child would be 9 years. My second child
6 years left
was 6 years old.
Ani Nadine Sabanjawani.
My third child.
What woman Sanjina no see follow.
At that time, the child was not yet 4 years old.
Did your children come to visit you while you were at Mile 2 prisons?
What you attending came on at a Gianusikuya?
Each time my husband comes there, he used to be very sad. He made all attempts. The children used to disturb him that they would want to see me. One day he prepared them, dressed them up, and came to court with them. So when they came that day, the court proceedings did not take place. People came and told me about gave me their information that the situation, the disturbing situation that the children were in, including him. The saddest thing about it was this: the following day he came with the intention of seeing me. He came to see me at the prisons first of all. They said to him that it was time that they were going to the court. He went to the court as well. As he was coming out, he too was arrested. So it means now the children are now in hardship, and he too is in hardship. But there was a lot of talk, a lot of pressure, and he was eventually released.
Do you know for how long he was detained?
He spent 1 day with them. But people were discussing his issue on social media a lot. And they ended up releasing him. But he was dismissed from his work. The children were there. And at that time, I was not engaged in any paid job. All my things were under his control.
Where was he working?
He worked at the KMC.
And he was dismissed from that job.
I was in prison and I got the information. And when I confronted him with the information, he said, no, that did not happen. And if I also inquired about the children, he used to tell me that they were okay. But if I asked him to bring them along, the prison rules did not allow for that. So there was difficulty on us on all these sides.
Can you please tell us what eventually led to your release?
Just
as I stopped the discussion where she got into the issue of my husband, you were asking me about the difficulties I encountered in prison. Also in the prison, when we request for food, when you have a visit, they will give you your food, you will take into your cell, which you would share with other prisoners. But there's a place where they identified for our relatives that if they should bring food for us, they should place the food there and then depart for home. And that happened after a lot of trial and pressure by the lawyers before that was able to be allowed to happen.
Mbesirim prison ko ina tankili ko nye visit le soto.
I was sitting in the prison and they came and called me and they said you have a visitor.
I
was hopeful that perhaps now things will change. I will be able to see my children. But when I came out to answer, they said to me, your food has arrived, it's down there, and they told me the place. At that time, I was at the remand wing. I asked, why was the food not brought inside? They said to me, you are going to eat it there. Then I said to them, tell them to return with the food. I said to them, where I am just waiting for time. Because I have gone through all kinds of conceivable difficulty. And it is not as if I killed someone, that is why I was brought here. And I have not yet been condemned by law. My food, why is it that even the inmates, their food is brought in, and you say that mine would not come in? And at that time, I was experiencing a lot of pain. I was unable to walk. I said to them, return back the food. At that time, my family members had already returned home. When they realized that the food that they used to bring for me does not usually get to me, and when they asked me in court, I told them. The lawyers got up and made those attempts again. That was when it was allowed for our food to be brought inside, so we could take it to ourselves. But they did not give up. We went to court and returned. I overheard the police discussing amongst themselves that the interior minister said that we be taken to Makati. Within the group, they chose 11 of us, if I can recall. According to what they said, there were some people that were released who accepted some of the terms and conditions that they had set to assure them that we are going to desist from engagement in political affairs. And they did not know anything about what was this issue. According to what I heard in their discussion, they set those ones free, and they took us to Makati.
Did they tell you about those terms and conditions prior to those other ones being released?
What happened, they did not tell me, but this was in their mind that we were the masterminds of the whole thing.
So they selected 11 of you out of the lot and sent you to Makati.
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened upon your arrival in Makati?
Makati mile 2 kole atanyaonya ka Makati le makwe.
Makati, despite all the hardship in mile 2, it is still not yet to the level of Makati.
Bari mile 2 ika ulile lo no yetama.
Because in mile 2 you could get up and walk around. And you could see 1, 2, or 3 people close to your cell. But in Makati, they took us inside a cell. They gave us a chamber pot where we could release we could attend to our personal needs. And where we perform ablution. All of that we do on that same chamber pot. When you are ready, you pick it up and empty it. We used to spend the night with that pot. And I was there with some elders. When we are ready in the morning, I used to collect it and empty it.
The people that were transported at Makati, how many of you were female?
The three of us, the three women, all of us went.
That would be yourself, Fatu Kamara, and Nogoy.
Yes.
All three of you, were you placed in one cell?
Yes.
Apart from the chamber pot, can you please describe the cell for us?
Wo kemba poto kola wo fansutura randinkira okola fo selo nyimbe nyadi
selo nyimbe be kotori ne tumbol si jolo e kasilandir femo be lejije.
The cell is so bad that and it's a very old place. You have maggots around and you see a lot of frightening things inside that cell.
Paranterol fana mambete.
And the windows were also not good. One day there was an owl which came into the room. Fat Kamara was shouting and reciting a verse from the Quran. We saw her fall down. An officer was called in. I don't know whether his name was Sana. There were many officers there. He is the man who came and took it and threw it out. And also at Makati, gunmen used to stand around that cell. When we are in that small room,
yes,
there is a parlor where you have the officers and the other people. If you want to go and empty your kimber pot, even if it is daytime, you have to call them for them to come and open the door and you go and empty the pot and bring back the pot. You don't go out. That's where you are always. And also when we are about to go to the hospital, there I have not gone to the hospital. It was Fat Kamara who once went to the hospital there. When she was going to the hospital, she went with an escort of 4 men. They were all armed with guns.
And prison guard.
Plus the prison guards. The following day was the day I was supposed to go to the hospital. They told me. I told them no, I don't want to go. They said no, you have to go. I told them my body has improved. At Makati, sometimes even if you are sick, they don't even think of taking you to the hospital. One day, Fat Kamara fell down.
Police officer a
police officer took her on his back and went out with her to look for a vehicle. There was no vehicle, but later they tried to take her to Bansang. Nogoy also, the same thing happened to her. They said when Nogoy was in the hospital, whoever she sees, she'll tell them, please tell my people that I am here.
April 14 protester.
My name is Nogoy Njai. We are the guys who protested on the 14th of April.
So that
really pained them. They said now if anybody gets sick, they will not take you to the hospital. But the commissioner at Makati was called Bubajata.
Wati inka moile aka official dandala prisoner la kuwala.
Every time I hear him warning the officers about the inmates at the prison there.
Ko ñunu alale dumbulo kono nga hakilo tuto mo kana ni ku yaku soto.
Well, he used to tell them that it is God's decision for these people to be brought here, but be careful of them.
Somanda ke kilila e diamundi wala.
He will call them every morning and warn them.
Aduraro fana ka kele.
And he does the same thing in the evening.
Bari la commissioner do bije mem musote.
But there was one commissioner who is a female.
Atomo Anna Tarolti.
Her name is Anna Taro.
Lundo.
One day,
state doctor nata je pour kana jat kenda jibe.
State doctors came there to check us.
Ntebe explanation wala.
I was explaining.
Akonye ko ngamera ye ko mod kanya.
She just told me to stop what I was saying.
Nkai ko ntebe mem folete to folani.
I told her, you cannot tell me what to say.
Nkai lafta fengo fem folamba folale.
I told her, whatever I want to say, I'll say it.
Nkai diate tolle ni lafte njara wale mbulaje.
I told her, well, it is left to them. If they want to cure me or treat me, okay. If they don't want to, let them leave it.
Akola Fat Kamara fana nata dani.
After that, Fat Kamara also appealed.
Akonye ko mbenyi muso dani la kantunga ke murile ko misilimu.
I will appeal to this woman because she also covers herself like a Muslim woman.
Pour ye chemba poto bondi jay.
So that they will take out the camber pot from our rooms. So that they will also forgive us to allow us to perform ablution outside. I said to her, don't tell her. She said, no, let me inform her. When she told the lady, what the lady replied to her was that you will remain with this camber pot there, it is the law. Fat Kamara told her that I am under custody. Now you want to take custody of my religion also? Fat Kamara said, God will decide between us. I told her, you tell somebody about God who knows about Allah. I told her that the reason which brought you here, or the person who brought you here, will release you when he wants to release you. People committed crimes worse than what we did. Let's leave everything with Allah. That's how we were remaining there.
For how long did you remain at the Makati prison?
We spent a long time there. When we go to court, the lawyer doesn't turn up. The magistrate just talks by himself. And those representing the government there. Whatever they feel is doing, that's what they do. And they will adjourn it again. When we are going to Mansa Konko, we leave the prison at 2 a.m. And the vehicle wasn't in good condition. If you travel with that vehicle and come back, it looks like that was the day when you were tortured. Every part of your body becomes so painful that you will not know where the pain comes from exactly. That's how we've been going to court and back, and no lawyer came there. Because the lawyers realized that there was not a single iota of truth in what was going on. They decided to march away and leave the court. When we are called and whatever is said, we don't say anything. We don't tell them it is black or white. That's the way we were there until the day they decided to jail us. But all this trial took place up to the end. I see Sheikh Omar there at all the trials. But I have never seen him at Makati. And one called Almame Manga. If they are going to talk between themselves and Allah, I think they will be able to recognize somebody and they'll be able to say something. That's how our things went and that's how it ended at Makati. Nobody was ever allowed to come and visit us or bring food for us.
Who was this Almame Manga you're referring to?
Jumalam ning Almame Manga ti kamem foteng.
Police.
And what was it?
Atela do kum munetinu.
What's happening? He used to be dressed in a white shirt and
black
trousers. Even in Makati, he used to come to follow up our case.
Do you know if he was representing the government in that case?
Yes, he came to represent the government.
Can you recall for how long you were detained before you were eventually released?
For how long aliye wati jelle mumeo ke umuto kono fojani bari bulala lumen.
We spent more than 8 months.
You were tortured. Your injuries were not properly treated. And you were locked up for 8 months. Can you tell us what the physical impact of that was on you?
What that did to my life is a lot. On one side, I learned from it. Because at the time that the difficulties were taking place, there were some that stood by me, but there are others also that distanced themselves from me. I heard that even my children, people were trying to distance themselves from them. And they used to say bad things. Up till today, if I recall those things, it used to sadden me because I know
it isn't my habit that took me to the prison, not my character.
It was just trouble that came along. And it could also happen to anyone. It also affected my children's school. Because my first child, my son, at that time, the school that he was, I even thought of taking him out from the studies. I used to go to his teacher and say to him, I want him to attend Dara, which is why I am taking him away from the studies. But because of the child's performance, the teacher will tell me, don't worry, I will take care of his study fees. He usually comes first in his class. But during my arrest, the children were only left with their father and they did not get the help they needed. Some people, truly speaking, they stood by me. But my mother was advanced in age. But
my husband also was somebody who wants to keep up with the children because he doesn't want to see them unhappy as far as I am not around. Sometimes the children will refuse to go to school. They will insist that they want to come to me and see their mom. That seriously affected my first child. And still it's affecting him.
Na second child.
My second child,
Lundo wasita kumbota.
one day he sat down and cried
Akonye ko modole video itandina.
and said that somebody showed him a video.
Mbasiri ngajube.
Sitting down and looking at it,
Mbe kumbo kambake.
I was crying bitterly.
Nkai ko kamuna kumbo.
I asked him, what are you crying for?
Akonye ko ngame moy.
He said, what I heard is what's making me cry.
Nkai ko video tatalenta fonga makala muda.
I told him that video was taken when I was not even aware of it.
Nkai bar so manimo ko na ya jube afaye ko hani.
I told him next time if anybody wants to show you a video, tell him that I won't, just refuse.
So ngaje ko ay juso dundi dindingola.
I saw that it gave heart to the child, it gave him courage.
My apologies for cutting you. Do you know the
I said to him, busy today, but he said to me, but then so I spoke there, narrating our experience, but I did not know how that video got out. Up till today, I am regretful of that video going out.
Very model by use can against me.
Because people are using it against me.
But
probably when I get to the end of my statement, I will address that issue.
Very well. Thank you very much, Madam Jawara. Thank you for answering all of my questions. And thank you for answering them bravely. I'll hand it over to the chairman now.
Mr. Chairman,
thank you very much, my council. Thank you very much, Honorable Jawara.
Chairman ko Limbara Council inumbara Honorable Jawara.
I'm truly sorry that you had to endure so much in the hands of officers of this state.
Akoy si haketu nyinketa balafati banko fangola do kulalu wolle nata soto kakemoluti men yalon ko yamantora jawole kan.
To suffer waterboarding,
kabata ji tajire ya like afome waterboarding wolem kamotili mbaliani njiola,
beating,
liparo,
and other forms of brutal torture
anin tajire ya sila kotengulu menu yekela
was a gross violation of your human rights. Truly sorry that this was done in the name of the state. If my commissioners have any questions, please indicate. Deputy, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Honorable.
You were hospitalized in a health facility within the NIA. Did you have access to doctors or specialist care when you were, for your injuries, when you were hospitalized?
Akobiri landi o lopitano kono NIA kono je fodum yellonna lonna jaral lalu nata jele bang pour que la jararolu topoto anyanta kala nyami.
Jaral lalu minu nata wol bebe mu NIA ti comme ngani no mo sabol men fo bebe NIA.
The doctors that came were all within the NIA. They were all part of the NIA. Those were the ones that carried out the secret treatment.
The fact that you say secret treatment means that you do not have medical documents.
I had some documents which they wrote body pain.
bari wol man tarante fangobul
but those are not in my possession.
Barnos muso mi yalong ko konka ko atata aketa molti mi yalong akamma koy.
But this female nurse that I said was the one assisting me there.
A statement o dol jala file konole.
I saw some statements in our file.
Adunga mirata fanambe kala motile mi yalong ka be kuma ala bake pour kana ka ko dol sedeya.
And I think that that nurse would be an important witness who should come here and make a statement.
Bayra bara mo dolu jele.
Because she had seen some of the injuries. And she has been there for a long time, taking care of people who were injured within the NIA there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Kinte, you have the floor.
Commissioner Kinte lafte nyininkala.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, honorable.
I said I was going to ask you so that you could assist us with Bamba Dinka. We had gone there on our tour, but we already met that so many things were already changed. God knows at that time you had a lot of pain, and there probably would be many things that you were not observant of.
But But
you told us that you had to open several doors before you got to Bambadinka eventually. How many of these doors did you have to open before you got to Bambadinka?
I
cannot tell you the exact number, but there were several doors that you opened. Then that shows that it could be up to 3 doors. Yes. My second question is, you said when they came in, they used to jump inside.
Meaning, it
shows that probably there was a hole or something or a step where they had to open those several doors, and then when they came there, they would get onto that step and then jump into the cell. I don't think there was a hole, but that was just the manner in which they did things to frighten you. And when they came in, that was the manner in which they came in. But it is difficult to be inside there and still be able to say exactly the situation of the place, the way it was like. Because where you used to exit from, that place is darkened so that you are unable to recognize the place. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If then, Imam C, you have the floor, please.
Imam C, la kane nyininka.
Jërëjëf ñu lay gërëm de la sant ci leeral bi nga leeral ak métit bi la am.
Ako inumbara bake ye kumo senendi nyamin anin ye mantoro mentaki.
Seen chairman boobu fi ngeen defoon meeting bi.
Allah chairman waliyo bonke dame.
That chairman where you had that meeting.
Xam nga su ngeen gisee mu génn yéen fa dem ngeen wax ne moom defut dara.
Ako ne ajal findita tele tata je wala baral ko amam femfenke.
If you see that he was not involved, you are the ones who went there and said that he was not involved in the whole thing.
Seetsi woon la Makati wala NIA.
Ako fo nate jubele Makati bang wala NIA.
Did he pay a visit to you while you were at the NIA or while you were in Makati?
Bi nga nekkee ci jafe-jafe bi ndax def na ci dara.
Ako biribe nyimbata kono faye ku kata jele bang.
While you were undergoing these difficulties, did he make any attempts to help you in the situation that you were in?
Hani nyamaje Makati wala
No, I did not see him in Makati, neither at mile 2.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify a point here, the chairman is with respect to the Batakunku incident, and the incident of arrest and prolonged detention is with respect to the incident of 14th April 2016.
Thank you for that clarification. Imam, continue your questioning. Or are you finished? He's finished. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Honorable Jara, if you have any closing remarks to make, please proceed to do so now.
Chairman Konatare kumalu soto bela kumo kumfala menna sai financiala o kuma kamalu itandi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to conclude by saying those people who are sending me threatening words through audios, SMS, and so on, and they were labeling words against me, I want to reassure them that if this thing has happened to their aunties, sister, mother, among others, what would they feel? I did not ask for this to happen to me, but some evil people decided to snap my integrity from me. But today, I take it all back. I refuse to be a victim, and I'm still sending strong message after all, because I love my country, and I will continue to fight for my right and that of other women. You cannot bring me down. So for that being the case, I'm sending this message to those psychophant groups who are always using abusive language against me, that I should be victimized. Jammeh should have finished up with me. I think they need to reflect their mind back and think that I didn't went to prison for my crime. I went to prison to fight for the right of the voiceless, to fight for the injustice. So I think the TRRC should do more effort to work in consultation with the victim to see that those group of individuals who are using abusive language on the victims, like how can you just come out and say that you were raped by thousands of men, but they should even thrust their legs into your ass, which I think is very bad. I think TRRC needs to do more to protect the right of the victims. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for those words, and fully endorse them. We would resume at 2:30. Yes, indeed, 2:30 or 2:45, 1 hour break. And Council, is next witness ready?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Fine, so we will resume at 2:45. Thank you all very much, and thank you again, Honorable Jawara, for coming, and we appreciate your testimony. Meeting is adjourned.
Chair, drafted.
Before we move on, please.
Fistula, for a layman to understand, is an opening between the bladder and the vagina, and also between the vagina and the rectum. It may occur as a result of difficult labor or obstructed labor. It may also occur as a result of long-term complication of FGM, which may lead to obstructed labor, or gang rape, as I mentioned last time, that raped a victim. At the same time, you introduce an object into the vagina, causing injury. to the bladder, whereby a woman will be leaking urine continuously without control.
You've said that it's an opening between the rectum and the vagina, and you've already said also that some of the causes or symptoms would be leakage of urine through the vagina. Apart from leakage of urine, would there be any other excreta that is excreted from the vagina?
Yes, feces, of course. If there is a hole between the vagina and the rectum, there will be feces leaking through the vagina.
Thank you very much. We will then proceed to the point at which your testimony was interrupted. You were explaining about the one-stop center, and you had explained about all the different steps and the different procedure. You talked about the legal perspective as well as the psychosocial aspect of the one-stop center, and you were explaining about the medical aspect when your testimony basically was disrupted. Can you just continue from there and tell us what the medical aspect of the one-stop center is, please?
Yes, one-stop center is about 3 services under one unit. That is the service of the medical personnel, there are the nurses and the doctors, and also the service of the social worker, and then the service of the legal experts, that is the lawyers or the counsel, I will call it. For medical doctors and the nurses is to give medical services, in the sense you take the history when you receive these GBV cases at your facility, take history, examine the victim, send for any investigations, like if they are more than 12 years, you send them for pregnancy test. If there is, your history is pointing towards rape or defilement or whatever form of the GBV, then you send them for pregnancy tests, scanning sometimes if necessary, and then also certain tests like HIV, and then also hepatitis tests. The reason for doing these tests is we want to confirm first, prior to this incident, whether the victim is pregnant or had an infection, or yes, and that will tell us so that we separate the two. So, because at the end of the day, you have to write a medical report after giving the medication, after examining the patient. You have to give medication to these victims. And then also the report has to be written, and this report has to go to the police station. They sometimes have to file it to the court so that you separate the two, the prior incident and the incident of the rape itself, what come after that. Usually we give them 3 months interval. If everything is negative, is normal, we call it, because if you look at a window period for HIV and maybe 3 months. So we allow them to come 3 months after to check them again. If they happen to get positive, whether it's pregnancy or whether it's hepatitis or whether it is HIV, then we will relate to the rape or the domestic violence or the sexual violence that occur.
Dr. Dafe, just please draw the microphone closer to you and just pull it down a little bit.
Thank you.
So that we can hear you properly. Thank you. I think you've just given us the steps that you would normally follow as a medical profession in the case of rape. Is that correct?
Yes, Counsel.
Yes. Do you receive any other kinds of sexual violence cases at the hospital apart from rape?
Yes, apart from rape, defilement, domestic violence like wife battering, especially pregnant women, we have seen a lot. FGM is another form of violence that we have seen, which in my experience led to the death of a child that I experienced, unfortunately. Kidnapping, and then the...
Let's just go back to FGM. You were explaining about the example of the death of a child. Just tell us more about that before you move on.
Yes, I think it's 2015. This a child that was less than 1 year was reported with the family members. Apparently, they said the child underwent circumcision. I was on duty on that day. And when I saw the child, I examined, but that time the child was motionless, and then all the vitals were nilled, the peripheries were cold, so, and it was paper white. paper white, what I mean is you look at the conjunctiva of the child, means he has lost blood significantly.
Dr. Dafe, one of the warnings I actually forgot to remind you about was the fact that some of the medical terms that you're using are not very familiar to us. So please, when you use such terms, can you just explain them in layman's words? You just explained one, which I cannot even repeat right now, in the eye. So just explain that to us.
The conjunctiva, that is, you
That's
open
right.
the eyes and see, and then if the patient or the victim is pale, then it will tell you. That's a clinical findings. But notwithstanding, you can also go to the lab and check the hemoglobin. It's the hemoglobin per se level to see.
And what is hemoglobin?
Well, that is the blood level, not the pressure. Is that a component?
And how old was this child?
It's less than 1 year.
And can you tell us whether there are different types of FGM and what those different types are?
Yes, there are different types. They are up to type 4. The first type is the cutting of the prepuce with or without the cutting clitoris. That's type 1. The type 2 is the cutting of the clitoris with or without, and then the labia minor. That is the tissues in the vagina. Those with medical will understand. And also the third type is the infibulation. Infibulation in the sense the cutting of the clitoris together with the labia majora, and then the remnants are stitched together, leaving the hole up and down. Up means you leave an opening for the urine to pass, and then down for the menstrual blood to pass. So in between them there will be a membrane. And then the fourth type is unclassified type. That is any procedure on the female genitalia that does not have any medical significance or purpose, then will be considered generally as the type 4 FGM.
And what was the type that this little girl was subjected to?
Well, this girl clitoris was cut completely. You can even see it. So she must have bled from the artery from that region, and they could not control the bleeding because it took long time. And then by the time they arrived at the hospital, the child died.
Do you know what is the most common form of FGM that is normally performed on women or girls in the Gambia?
Gambia, it's a general notion that we don't have mutilation, it's cutting. But my clinical practice will has told me that, my clinical experience, I've seen women who are completely sealed. You can even see the labia minor together with the clitoris is cut, creating a scar, and sometimes there is only a little hole. I've did so many procedures for women during Ramadan. Your Ramadan is the month that women normally get married. You have the highest percentage of marriage usually in the month of Ramadan or prior to Ramadan. Your people wanted to, especially those who are not married to. But you can realize that women will get, the girls will get married, go to their husband, they cannot penetrate them. So they have to come back to the hospital. Some will eventually go back to the traditional way of removal, but that's very dangerous. So they will usually come to the hospital, and then we will take to the theater. You have to put them on the general anesthesia again because it's painful. And then you have to either use forceful dilatation or you have to use an instrument to open to make sure that the woman continue with this sexual relation with the husband.
So basically, the woman would have to go through a procedure where the vagina would then have to be cut. Basically, it would be like going through the process of circumcision again.
Yes, I did that on many occasions because the circumcision was so bad that the man can never penetrate. In certain scenarios, I've seen also, the woman got pregnant because the hole was small. There is a sexual contact. A mere contamination of the hand can make a woman pregnant. I always tell people this. So on 2-3 occasions I've seen they got pregnant, and what we did was during labor. You are in labor, but the baby cannot come out. If you are lucky to find yourself in a setting where there are doctors who can operate, can do the procedure and open, either you opened when the woman is fully dilated, that is during the labor, or you can take to the theater, operate, remove the baby, and open the woman again. So it will be double procedure. You do the cesarean section at the same time also you open the vagina, so that afterwards can continue with her sexual life.
And would you say that this infibulation procedure would be one of the most severe forms of female circumcision or FGM?
Certainly.
And what are some of the complications that arise as a result of FGM? You have already explained that death can occur. I mean, this little girl came to you and she was pronounced dead. Can you tell us what other complications that can occur? You also mentioned fistula. Perhaps you can explain more in detail or give us other forms of complications.
The complication of FGM and then the rape in general will have immediate and the long-term complications. The immediate complication will be, first, as I mentioned, there will be physical injury, there will be pain, there will be bleeding, and that bleeding, if not controlled, you go into hypovolemic shock, and sometimes can lead to death if you don't arrive at the hospital on time. However, we can have other complications like urinary retention when it comes to FGM, that the female genital mutilation or cutting. Urinary retention can be one of the complications immediate. We can also have infection, can be also one of the, because most of the time these are not done under sterile procedures. They can use any materials, and then through that you can catch infections. For FGM, those could be the short, immediate complication, but the long term are many. The keloid, the scar, the cyst on the vulva can be a complication. Keloid means scar. It's a medical term we use. Cyst means is the swelling in the vulva containing a pus. Pus is data in local your field in Mandinka. And then also they can have what we call sexual dysfunctions. This is one of they can have what we call pelvic pain and then all sort of things.
Thank you very much, Doctor. From what you have said, FGM or female genital mutilation, otherwise known as female genital mutilation or female circumcision, is a very serious form of sexual violence, and it can cause some serious health complications, including death.
Yes, Counsel.
Okay, can we just move on to perhaps other forms of sexual violence that you have experienced working on such cases?
Yes. Apart from rape, by FGM, you have defilement and also wife battery or assault or physical violence against women, especially pregnant women, is so common. I've received few cases, and sometimes also during my antenatal service, that is the clinic for the pregnant woman, which I run every Thursday. Sometimes with the conversation with women, you can detect the violence happening in the house. And on many occasions, I think about 3-4 times, we called some of the victims who were involved and called their partners to come to the hospital, and we advise to help women carry the pregnancy, because the pregnancy belongs to all of them.
And can you give us, you've mentioned rape cases, and in your view, how prevalent is rape in the Gambia?
I may not be able to give the statistics of the whole country, but my hospital, which I'm in charge of the one-stop center, from 2014 to present, I have received 46 cases in 2014. That include both domestics and sexual violence. But if you look at the rape, form the majority. Rape is always more than the 50% of what you registered yearly. Or rape will comprise also the attempted rape. Sometimes it's not only but attempted one, so we book them under the same category.
My apologies, please continue.
Yes. In 2014, 46 cases. In 2015, we registered 70 cases comprising all the forms of violence. but rape again forms the majority. And then in 2016, it went up to 94. That's my hospital. And the same rape formed the majority, and the people affected, or the girls affected, or female affected, are mostly between the age of 5 or sometimes even less to 12 years, and also between 13 to 30 years usually. That's where you have a bulk of the people who are victims affected.
So not only is rape the most prevalent form of sexual violence, but it's actually on the increase according to your statistics.
Yes.
Do you have these statistics with you that you mentioned?
Yes, I have the statistics with me.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yes.
Can we take a look at it? Violence is 2019 into evidence. I will give you the exhibit number later on. Thank you. We may proceed, Dr. Dafe. Can you give us an example of cases of rape that you have actually experienced? Perhaps the more serious ones, like rape of children, for example. Have you encountered any in your professional experience?
Yes, there are a lot, but the most recent, and that case already ended up, the perpetrator was imprisoned for 15 years. And that came in 2019. It's a case that happened in 2014. Unfortunately, the case was finally decided in 2019. You can see the gap, and that shows some defect in our judicial system as far as I'm concerned. I stand to be corrected. This is a child of 11-year-old in Brusubi. According to the family and from my report, has a mental issue, but this mental issue usually is periodic, not always. And then when it comes as a flare-up, usually will disappear from home. And then she happens to disappear from home and then met this man who invited her to the house, and then stay with her there for about 2-3 days, according to her and the family. And then according to her narration, that the man forcefully slept with her. I mean, it was raped her in the house. So you can see the kidnapping and then also at the same time sexual violence, rape. So the case was reported in 2014. I was new in Carnifing at that time. And we filed it. And then the medical report was subsequently given. We did all our treatment. And then the case was called. I went to High Court to testify. I think that was 2017. And the case was decided in 2019. And the guy was convicted for 15 years. It was a very bad case. This is a girl who already had a mental problem. We know this, the effect of the sexual and domestic violence, they can also go into psychological trauma. So insult upon injury. You rape this girl again, already has another medical condition. You're going to make the condition of this woman worse, or this girl worse rather. That was my experience. The other experience, shortly, I came here last time. This is a girl of about 6-year-old around Yuna. The village is there, but I forgot the name. This girl is a Dara student. In the morning, according to the mom, she usually take them to Dara. But that very day, I don't know, the little baby was sick. So she decided not to go with her, and I told the girl, now you have been going with me. You know the way, so you can go on your own. Unfortunately, this man met up with this girl, physically assaulted her, broke the 2 teeth, and then they slept with her, and they penetrated her. When we saw, that was shortly before I came here last time, examined the case, it was injury. The hymen was broken completely. You can even see the bleeding coming. And also in the posterior vagina, it was also lacerated. So it was so bad. The police officer who in fact escorted this was crying bitterly because he could not stand it. So you can see how not only the victims can have effect of the sexual violence, but even we as medical doctors and nurses and the police officers, we call it the vicarious trauma or the counter-transference. The effect can transfer to us because anytime you think about them, it seems sometimes you want to put yourself in their position. Those are the effects that we can also, and I've seen that in that police officer. Probably what she's thinking, this could be her own child or somebody, if this happened to her child. So it was bad.
So not only have we seen the physical violence of rape, but also psychological trauma and the psychological effects of rape as well. Do you have any more examples of other forms of cases that you have experienced at Kanifing General Hospital?
Yes, high-profile case that I experienced is still ongoing at the court. The case is not decided, but this happened also in 2014. It's 14 girls. They live around Keseri and Kololi. I was running a clinic. That was in August, or March, sorry. And then they were escorted by the Operation Bulldozer. That these girls were usually sexually violated by one man at around Senegambia. And these kids are girls who usually sell around the beach area, the hotel areas, and then this man will eventually invite them, cook for them, but with another intention, do pornography according to their story, also play with their genitalia, with their breasts, and sleep with some of them. And then our findings revealed some of them were sexually active because it was long. They have been going there for a long time. So it could be probably as a result of that, or it could be. They were between the age of 12 and then 17, 16, 14 of them. The case is still ongoing, I think, at High Court, because I went there to testify on 2 occasions. But the matter is still not decided.
Okay, thank you very much for providing those examples of rape cases that you have experienced. But just in terms of the medical tests that you were explaining previously, you explained different types of tests, hepatitis test, AIDS test, as well as checking on the physical injury or not of the victim. Are there any DNA tests that are conducted here in the Gambia to determine perhaps who the perpetrator of a rape is?
Unfortunately, no. In fact, that affects our service. DNA is services in the Gambia, unfortunately not available. And I always emphasize any gathering of GBV or any workshop or any times I meet with lawmakers or the people in the authority, is a concern. Because the essence is not only to help establish rape, to connect the perpetrator to the crime or the crime scene, but it also helps to vindicate the perpetrator. So it's good for both. So, and I think most of our cases, when they report, you don't find evidence because there is late reporting. They report late, like more than 72 hours. You may not see the sperm's presence in the vagina sometimes, or you may not even see the injury because already 72 hours has elapsed. And then it's difficult to establish anything that will help the court to establish whether the rape has occurred or not. So, but DNA will help us a lot. And I think it's high time this country also have it, if we want to fight for sexual and domestic violence in this country and the rape.
So how does the lack of DNA facilities in the Gambia, how does it affect the prosecution of criminal cases in court for rape?
As Counsel, I think you may understand that rape, you have to corroborate it. It's not only victim's narration of what happened, because usually it happened in a situation where nobody is present, usually. So it's the perpetrator and the victim. They all narrate their story differently. So to connect them, you need something. And what is that thing is the DNA, to look for the evidence that is left by the perpetrator at the scene or that the perpetrator left on the victim. And that will connect them. And that will help. It's not only here, but outside world, in America, in those days it do happens. People are sent to jail because of rape and they did not commit any crime. And about when the DNA was introduced, it exonerated so many people. So I think here also it will help us to do our job better and also help both the victim and the perpetrator. Because if we are dealing with these people, you have to be neutral and not to be biased. You make sure that the justice is served. You exactly report what you saw, so that at the end of the day, the justice is served and the justice is done on behalf of both.
I know this is not your area, but do you know what the conviction rate is for rape in the Gambia? Do you know whether it's low or is it high?
Well, the convictions, you mean the number of people who are convicted, I'm not sure. But I know that penalties are attached, ranging from the 10 to 25 years and even life imprisonment for those that violated people sexually who are under their care, like the parents or the guardians or even the teachers. It's for life imprisonment, according to Sexual Offense Act 2013.
Thank you very much. You've already mentioned the lack of DNA evidence in the Gambia or facilities to test DNA evidence. Do you face any other challenges at the one-stop shop or or in your role as focal person at Kanifing General Hospital? Just general medical problems that you may have?
Yes, we used to face problems like logistics and supplies, but recently we have some supply, but that is whether it's sustainable is a question. Reporting early to the hospital is a challenge for us. We know the culture of our society. People tend to settle issues at the family level or the community level before they report. Sometimes it is only when the things go out of the hand, then they will proceed to the police, and from the police they will come here. But those are challenges. Those are the supplies, and then also the reporting to our facility. Before, we have office of the center, because it exists as one stop, but there was no office identified. It was a challenge because our labor ward, which was not very ideal, women are in labor, and at the same time you want to examine the victims of the sexual and domestic, so it was not conducive at all. Sometimes you have to allow them to wait till you have a space to examine them. But now we have identified a space, even though still that place also we need to improve on the facilities there. But at least we have a facility now. But basically, the supplies and also the late reporting of the victims was our challenge. Is our challenge, sorry.
Okay, in terms of focusing on the one-stop centers, you've already explained the constraints that you face in terms of the medical aspect as well as the legal aspect. What about the psychosocial aspect of the one-stop center? Are there any challenges that you face there?
Yes, there are challenges because the whole idea about the one-stop center is to have 3 services under one unit. The ideal way would be to have them present or to have access to them whenever we need them. But that is not the case. Notwithstanding, on our part as the medical practitioners, nurses, and we do our part. If there is a need to call them for any counseling, we will do. And if there is need for any lawyers to intervene, also we will call. As of now, that's how it is. But they should all be on that. They should have their offices there, separate from, and then the social workers should have these offices there, and the medical team also have their offices there, where you have also the examination room. but unfortunately, we don't have that one all complete. But the idea of the one-stop center is in existence.
And how are these sexual cases, sexual violence cases, normally referred to the hospital? How do they get there?
They usually come with police officers, which I always complained the way they suffer than the way how they reach at the hospital. I've interviewed so many police officers. They will say, well, we don't have transport. I have to stand on the way waiting for lift to come to the hospital. Sometimes they will tell me my fare that the victims and the parents of the victim don't have money. So I'm using my, could you imagine the little salary that you get for your family, you're using also on the victim. The police station cannot have any logistics to carry this victim to the hospital. It's a real challenge. And then sometimes you see the back and forth, and it also delay the process. So if there is no vehicle and you, the police officer, don't have money, so what do? It means you cannot go that very day. You have to come there. And the more time you delay, the evidence are lost. The more we lose our evidence as medical team.
So the policy in place basically for referral of criminal cases to the hospital is not effective, and it can cause loss in evidence.
It's not effective at all.
Okay. Do you have any other constraints that you know of that police officers face?
Well, the other challenge would be the pressure on us. It's not only the GBV case that you deal with, you also deal with other cases like women, pregnant women in labor. You have to go to the theater, you'll be operating. The victim will be waiting. Sometimes some will wait for 6 hours. It depends. Because, yes, all cases are equal before us, but we give priority to cases. A woman in labor cannot wait. If a sexual violence comes and there is no life threatening, she's not bleeding, obviously you will ask them to wait, then you take care of that pregnant woman. So that is the situation we are faced with. So that will boil down to increasing the capacity, both the nurses and the doctors to be trained on the GBV so that the waiting time for the victims or the survivors can be minimized.
What happens in instances where the victim reports first to the hospital? Would they normally be sent back to the police station, or would you treat them?
If we are done with our investigation, treatment, we normally send them back to the police station. And if they need a medical remark, then they will come with the police officer, or the police officer will come alone, and we will write that medical remark and give it to the police officer.
And in your experience, what gender is mostly affected by sexual-based violence?
Certainly women and the children, the girls.
Have you had any cases of male violence, sexual violence reported to you?
If my memory serves me, I think it's only 4 from 2014. One was a boy that was sexually penetrated by a man. That's one. The other one was a white man, have a Gambian wife, was violated also at home, was physically. The other one was a man who married a second wife, and then I don't think the first wife was not pleased with that. And while having a shower, he just threw a chemical on the private part, was admitted also in our hospital. The fourth one I will not remember, but these are the cases that I remembered against men. But basically, the women and the girls are the most vulnerable.
You mentioned the first case where a man penetrated a boy. Was it a case of sodomy? And was it rape?
Well, it was not out of consent. And if it is not out of consent, even though it's the same sex, well, it's a forceful penetration, and to me, I will call it as a sexual violence.
And in your opinion, I mean, do you have a particular kind of woman that would come more to you on issues of sexual violence? Are there particular types of women, for example, that are more prone to sexual violence than others?
The people who are younger age, like from 5 to 12 years, are the most common, even though we have people from within 13 to 25 years. But the people, children between the age of 5 and 12 are the most vulnerable from the statistics all over, or generally. Because the reason being, they are weak and they are easily threatened, and you can easily make them silent than somebody, a grown-up one. So that may be the reasons.
So that would be the age range that you would normally receive more frequently at your hospital?
Certainly.
What about in terms of social class or religion, race? I mean, do you think that, there's any particular woman that is more prone to sexual violence than any other one?
The sexual and domestic violence, as far as Gambia is concerned, well, it's not only directed to one specific ethnic groups. It's across all aspects of our society. Even though there may not be equal percentage between the tribes, but it happens in all the sectors of the society, regardless of the race or the cultural background or the educational background or their position in the community. It can happen. I've seen security people being involved in the rape, both the police and the military, paramilitary. I've seen also the imams involved in the rape. I've seen ustaz involved in the rape, teachers involved. I've seen medical personnel involved in the rape. So it crosses all sectors of the society.
I'll just take the opportunity to ask you a particular question here. When you've mentioned that you've seen perpetrators of rape being from the security forces, for example. For example, when one loses consciousness, causes of incident?
Well, that will depend on circumstances, whether you are on confinement or whether you are in prison or you are restrained. Unconscious patient bleeding from the vagina can be caused by many. It could be a normal menses. It could be as a result of trauma. It could be because the woman is pregnant and is being violated, or maybe out of stress or torture that become miscarriage. Or it could be a medical condition, as I said, a fibroid. Women can have this occasional bleeding. So it depends on the circumstances. But again, the history before that woman or that person is confined will lead you to whether this was as a result of the confinement, or it was after the confinement, or before the confinement. In fact, these conditions were there. So the history before that is very vital if you want to establish whether that was as a result of the torture during confinement or during detention.
And we are talking specifically about, bleeding from the private part. And you mentioned, it can be caused by, are you referring?
It can be physical torture. It can also be a sexual penetration, because for any sexual relation or intercourse to occur, psychologically, women, they must be prepared. You must be in the mood. And also, that makes them lubricated. That's why it's never painful, but instead enjoyable. And then if that is done on a coercive situation, usually you can cause injury, because at that time they will be very dry. Psychologically, they are not prepared. So those things can be possibility, especially when you are in detention. However, as I mentioned, there are conditions that can also warrant bleeding, and they may be triggered by your confinement, or they may come as because you had this condition before.
And the situation of sexual torture which you describe would be a situation of rape, is that correct?
Yes.
And what other symptoms would you be looking for, perhaps on the physical, external features of the body to corroborate a finding of rape in that instance?
Rape, usually it occurs under coercive circumstance. Coercive circumstance, you have to rule for external injury on the body, either a cut by a knife or sometimes even strangulation, scratches, bruises all over the body, or the clothes that the person is wearing, whether they are torn, whether they are in order. So you do that head-to-toe examination physically, and also the clothes that the woman is wearing to see any injury. So the injury also has their descriptions. Sometimes the way they defend themselves will tell you with a knife that this was a point of defending, so the history will tell you, physical examinations from head to toe, and also, of course, your vaginal examination will tell you.
Thank you very much, doctor. That was very helpful. You've already explained the fact that even though sexual violence is more prevalent amongst women, but you have seen some rare cases of male violence. Have you received perhaps victims who are, let's say, HIV positive, AIDS patients who have also suffered forms of sexual violence before?
I have never registered any. It's only one. But that one, the 14 girls I told in 2014, among them one was positive. But when we traced, because the family also, when she was positive, we have to cancel the mother also to test. And we realized that the mother was positive. So probably that could be we can trace where the infection come from the mom. Because the rest of the other girls, 13, were negative. Yes.
But she was a victim of sexual violence, and she was an AIDS patient.
Well, that was our finding, incidental finding. It could be.
Okay, very well. What about victims from the lesbian, gay, or bisexual, transgender, and intersex community, the LGBTIs as they are commonly known as? I mean, have you had any experience in the Gambia dealing with such victims?
We had a training on that, doctors, but it's difficult to trace them because they fear, and usually they don't present themselves. It's the clinical experience. Sometimes you go deep to find out, because we all know the stigma around people of lesbian and the gays in our society. Virtually there is no room for them. So to come out and then openly and tell you as a health personnel is, unless you use your clinical experience to ask them, present yourself as you are the one who want to help them, their sexual life, and then you will be able to know. But it's happening in this country, because the studies, when we did the training, that's the time I myself realized that, I never knew that this is happening in this country.
So such victims would be underreported because of the stigma attached to their status?
Yeah, obviously that will be underreported.
You have explained some of the health complications arising from sexual violence cases. Can you give us any more?
I've made mention of the unwanted pregnancy when rape occurs. I've also given an example of unsafe abortion. I've also given an example of risky sexual behavior that a rape victim or a victim of sexual violence can adopt. Because I think I have a victim who told me, well, I've tried to maintain my virginity, but for the fact that I lost as a result of this, I could not longer hold it again. And I advised, still there is something that we can do. And I offered hymenorrhaphy, if provided you want to hold yourself again. Well,
can you tell us what that means again?
Well, it's to try, and it's a procedure you do to put the hymen back to it. But it can never be original, but at least it will help the woman.
What is the word? Can you please repeat it?
Hymenorrhaphy. It's from the word hymen.
All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Yes. Those are the immediate, as I said, physical injuries and also pain. The long-term complication will be pelvic pain. There can be also mental debility, psychological trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder. You can have also what we call phobias and also stress. You can also have generally, psychologically and medically, these are some of the things that can affect the perpetrator in the long term. And the most important for female also, obviously they will get old and then they will get married, and the infertility, because we all know the sexual violence, for example, rape, is never, the perpetrators never protect themselves by use of condoms, so it will be forceful penetration without protection. And usually you can catch the GBV is a product of genetic. To give forced domestic violence in any country, funding is fundamental. If you look at network against gender-based violence, it's private government thing, and then they supported by, then it was a Finnish foreign ministry, and now it's Action Aid the Gambia. I think the government need to take the ownership of this program, and then fund it well, train people well, sensitize the population to make sure we reduce or even, if possible, eradicate sexual and domestic violence in this country. But without their commitment, the political will and commitment and support, then it will be very difficult. My experience is telling me that it's more of lip service than people. I think our actions should be more than our talking.
And what is the level of the training of medical personnel on sexual violence matters?
Well, not every medical doctor or nurse is opportune to benefit from the training. Of course, a network is doing training every year in Combo and in provinces, which I was a trainer. But still, it's not enough, because if you look at the health facilities in this country, every major health center and then the district hospital should have a one-stop center. And for you to operate one-stop center in those facilities, you must train people, because dealing with GBV cases is different from dealing with other ordinary patients. Their issues are many. Their right has been violated. They were physically violated. They are also in pain, and they are thinking about the long-term complications, and they are thinking about the future of their life, because what next will happen. So dealing with them, you need to undergo training.
And apart from the activities of the network, especially on the one-stop centers, does government provide any kind of facility for victims of sexual violence in the Gambia?
Well, usually we use SOS, but I don't think that is government-owned. But government should have a center for the victims, fully funded. They should have.
And you're saying that they don't have?
Well, no.
So that responsibility has been shifted to the network against gender-based violence?
Yeah, network work with SOS, yes. Any victim that need a psychosocial counseling and need to be separated, sometimes they will send them there.
And who do you think is responsible for victims of sexual violence in the Gambia? Is it a civil society organization, or is it government?
The network partner with a civil society group, Action Aid the Gambia, to fight against sexual and domestic violence. So we have stakeholders who are also part and parcel of this fight against sexual and domestic violence in the Gambia. Of course, the civil society were also at forefront.
I think we're coming almost to the end of your testimony. I don't know if you have any more recommendations before we conclude.
Yes, the recommendation I made mention of the few. DNA I have mentioned here. I have mentioned the Center for the Victim that will be government owned. I have also mentioned about the funding generally of the these networks program and also the centers in all the health facilities. We also have to look into our legal side. I think you have already made mention of the cases that were seen in 2014 for the cases to be decided in 2019. Well, I don't know, there might be reason for the delay, but I think the justice delayed is justice denied. And some of these victims, you realize that by the time you call them to court, they are already married. And you want to bring them back to the courtroom with their families to testify again. What are you doing again? Are you not traumatizing them more again? So I think the issues of the GBV at court should be dealt with, and then they shouldn't allow it to drag on and then wait until even the people who took that history have forgotten about who is the perpetrator, who is the victim. So you have to go to the file and check, what do I wrote, when was it, which date. So it's not helping at all. I think we need to look at our judicial system. The government, Ministry of Justice should look at it, work in partnership with network to see what they can do about it. I think they should be given priority when it comes to the court proceeding, and they make sure that their cases are handled as soon as possible so that the justice is served. The other recommendations that I want to make, I have also throw light on that. That is to train the people who are involved in the domestic, sexual and domestic. The health workers were trained, but about the police and the lawyers, although we have few lawyers who are involved in our, but this should be ongoing. It's not like it should happen once and all, because people will come and go. Today I'm there, tomorrow I may leave. Why I said this, in 2016 when I went to Tanzania for my program, virtually my center collapsed. Even though there are doctors in the hospital, there are nurses in the hospital, but people were not familiar with it. And for the fact that people don't like going to court to testify because of the cross-examination, which is always difficult for people, so people don't tend to associate themselves with issues of sexual and domestic violence. But I think the training will help if they have the knowledge. I think that will empower them to deal with them and also to go to court and testify.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That is the end of your testimony. Mr. Chairman, I hand over the witness to you for any questions you may have, and back also to him for any final words. Just to let you know that the exhibit number is 91. Thank you.
Thank you, the council. The request for that number is granted. And thank you very much, Dr. Dafe, for your testimony. Before I give the floor to commissioners who may have some questions to ask, I have a small confession to make. Sorry, I missed your testimony the other day. I wasn't here. And the first 10 minutes of your testimony this afternoon, I felt a bit uncomfortable and uneasy because coming from a 30-hour flight from Beijing, China to Banjul, it's as if the airplane landed here. I got out of the plane, came in here, and then started hearing about FGM in a very graphic way. It was that part that thinking that is a very conservative society and culture, to hear that graphic explanation, which I think is excellent in a society like this. I never thought I would hear it here, but that was what made me, having been born and raised here, a bit uncomfortable hearing about the different types of FGM. I felt uncomfortable. I was looking for space under the desk, and so I could just hide and see what is. But counsel came to my help when she contextualized it right away and said, FGM is a form of sexual violence. See, voila. That's it. I'm rescued now. This is all okay. I won't go under the desk because I started looking at you. I say, who is this doctor? Where is he coming from? He's talking about these things in the conservative society and culture. But anyway, I've been helped, and I think the contribution is tremendous. Thank you again very much indeed. Commissioners, if you have any questions to ask, please also indicate. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Duffy, I think you mentioned about a little girl of about 6. That was, this FGM thing was performed on her. And there was a complication. By the time they brought her to the hospital, she passed away. Was it the 6-year-old or?
It's less than 1 year. Less than 1 year.
Less than 1 year?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, my question is, what happened to the person or persons who performed the circumcision on them, on her?
Yes, unfortunately, as I told you earlier on, that we have a society, this culture of silence and also to negotiate things at the family level. Unfortunately, this girl was circumcised by the grandmother. The whole family came, and I insisted that the matter be reported to the police stations, and then we'll open a file, and that something should be done about it. People were on their knees, and then it happened to a point that the old woman is not even healthy from them. If we send to prison or you take that woman to police stations, you may cause another problem. And then it was a difficult situation. The family members who should even go forward with the case are telling you that, well, if you should if we proceed this case to the police stations, then it means the problem will come back to us. So you see the society. So at the end of the day, it's difficult, even for me. What I did was to file it as reference, and then and I told them the question that they should report the matter, and if the matter is reported, then I will write a report, or certainly. And I told them that the woman should desist from it, and then at their family level, and then they should not continue or allow her to be doing that kind of procedures, that she could not take care of the complications. Because FGM, yes, you do, but the complication, can you take care of it? The bleeding? No. Then why? If you can take care of the complication, that is only one side. You may, but even that one, it is not proper. It's violating the right of a woman or a girl. So that's how it is, but we file it. Commissioner. Yes.
Thank you. Deputy, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You have helped us in making recommendations. This is what we are required to do. Recommendations that include initiatives on human rights and peace building for children. Your testimony has given us a picture of a country where children between the ages of 5 to 12 are at risk. Your colleague before you, from sexual gender-based violence. Your colleague before you, Hadi Mboj Baro, also gave a very excellent testimony, just like yours, on the risks that children face in this country, and ended up by asking, are we living in a country of pedophiles? As a country, we are committed. We should be. What you have said shows that we are not committed to protecting children, to provide safety and security for them. So if children are not safe, they are not secure, they are not protected, will those children be at peace? This child that you have just described, the 6-year-old, who was violently violated, Her sexual reproductive health rights were violated. Physically, she was violated to the extent she lost her teeth. I'm sure she's suffering psychologically. The family must be going through very difficult times. From your explanation, it seems like it was an outsider who did it, but the people within the community knew that it was an outsider who did it. But at the same time, the gatekeepers who are supposed to protect the children, the teachers, the religious leaders, parents in the homes, are all violating the rights of these children. I have taken note of your recommendations. I've added one, of course, which is the resources for the, for the security services to be able to take the victims to the hospital on time. But I think we really, as a society, should take this business of sexual, gender-based violence very seriously. Because every day you see young girls and boys going to and from school in the morning, in the evening, and all these children are at risk. I just wanted to make that comment, Doctor, and to thank you very much for this excellent afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my Deputy. If there are no further questions, Dr. Duffy, do you have any concluding remarks to make? If you do, please proceed to make them now.
Yes, I want to thank the commissioners, the council, the team, for giving me this opportunity to be here today, to speak to the whole nation and the world at large. The magnitude of the sexual and domestic violence in this country is deeply honored. And I also want to seize this opportunity to thank my team, the network office, the police whom I work with, and then my nurses, the doctors who are involved in the sexual and domestic violence in this country. I have few remarks to make in our society. I think we need to wake up, in the sense we need to know what we want as a society. I believe that women and children are the most vulnerable when it comes to SGBV in the Gambia and the whole world at large. We need to protect them. How do we protect them? If we protect these people, we protect the whole society. If they are not protected, then the society is not protected. I don't believe that any family head will sit at home when your family, your wives and your children are in danger. I don't think so. So we need to empower them and protect them. Again, we need to look at how to tackle this SGBV from the grassroots. For me, I believe we have a problems at our schools. In the sense, the curriculum. I used to remember that a curriculum that were taught in schools, family life educations, it educates the young girls how to take care of their virginity, how to be careful when it comes to sexual activity. It also gives them a picture of what to have in consequence if you do A, B, and C. So it's a curriculum that I think it should be reintroduced for the younger generation, especially girls in schools, to educate them, to make them aware, because they are the most vulnerable. Again, there is another curriculum that is absent again, civic. It makes people an upright members in the society, make them responsible. It's also absent. It imposes on you, or it gives you that sense of nationalism. If there is no sense of nationalism for any citizens, always there will be problem. And that's what Gambia we have gone through. The sense of nationalism, as far as this country is concerned, is zero. We only think about ourselves, and that's not helping. It's high time that we love this country. It's high time that we speak the truth, and it's high time that we work together to make sure that we eradicate the sexual and domestic violence in this country. It's doable. It's not only a lip service, but our actions, as I said, speaks louder than our voice. In that way, we will move forward. If not, then this issue of sexual and domestic violence will continue to perpetuate in our society. From the 2014 to 2019, if you look at my statistics, it's always on increase. It may be due to people are coming forward because we are now a democratic society. People are now not afraid to come forward to report the cases, but yet still, if the trend is going like that, I'm afraid it's not helping us and doesn't tell well for our society. So we should come together and then help women and children of this country. If they are healthy, I think the society will be healthy. If they are empowered, the whole society is empowered. So it's our responsibility. I made mention that GBV in this country affected all sectors of the society. I have seen lawyers, families were affected. Comes to one-stop center. They are legal practitioners because their family members are affected by this MS. So it's not like when you are the minister or you are the imam or you are the lawyer, you cannot be affected. By the way, all our kids go to school. And then when they are at school or when they are coming home, sometimes we are not with them. We don't know what happened. They can be kidnapped on the way. Anything can happen to them. So I think we need to look into it. But these two curriculum, for me, I think it should. If you look at this country, a small country, I think we should be more than where we are. The saddest thing is Gambians, unfortunately, we don't learn lesson. I'm sorry to go backward, but if you look at it, 1981, we never learned lesson. 94, we never learned lessons. And 2016, I thought we would learn lesson, but I don't think so. Because if you look at the attitude of the people generally, I don't see any sense of nationalism. And if that fails, then they will go into anarchy, go into chaos, which is not good for this country. This country got its independence together with Singapore, a landlocked country, if I'm right. Why Singapore is at top and where? We got independent. In fact, we got before them. We got in February. I think they got in May. If Singapore will be termed as one of the most industrialized nations, why not Gambia? They are not intelligent than us. This country is blessed with a lot of resources. And I think we need to condone each other in the sense that to avoid violence, let's support each other. If I am content, I am well off, and I have everything in mind, but my neighbors are poor, they will steal from me, they will harass my kids, and they will spoil my kids. That's the danger. So that's why we should carry each other and then embrace each other so that we make a better society. That's what I have for this commission.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Dafe, for those very, very wise words. The third triplet, Gambia, Singapore, was the Maldives. On the 21st of September, 1965, all three were admitted as members of the United Nations. The other two have left us behind. Singapore, as you said correctly, is something that perhaps we need to think very much about why we have been left behind. But anyway, thank you so much for those very wise words, and thank you also for coming to testify and enlightening us on the very important issue of sexual and gender-based violence. Thank you again very much for your testimony. Before we conclude, there is an issue that was brought to the attention of the Commission that is causing some concern on our part. And the Commission would want me to make a statement on its behalf to highlight this issue. I will read the statement out, and it speaks for itself, and it will be issued as a press release. The statement I will read. The Commission is deeply concerned about the harassment and intimidation of some victims of sexual violence who testified about the violations and abuses of their human rights at the TRRC. It is most unfortunate and unacceptable that some survivors of sexual violence who have endured such horrific experiences are being re-victimized by some members of the public as a result of their willingness to appear at the TRRC and give a public account of what happened to them. No one chooses someone to be a victim of sexual violence. The testimonies of such victims should not be seen as an opportunity to score political or any other points. Their stories should not be dismissed. When victims of sexual violence use the TRRC proceedings to narrate their ordeal, there should be a space to promote healing, accountability, and the non-recurrence of such heinous crimes. It should never be a space to blame, stigmatize, or harass victims. As Gambians, we have a collective responsibility to end sexual and gender-based violence. These victims are our mothers, fathers, daughters, sisters, sons, and brothers. The Commission will not allow survivors of sexual violence to be re-victimized through the TRRC process simply because they have been courageous enough to break their culture of silence in the Gambia and speak out against these such horrific violations. We should applaud and support them. If such harassment and intimidation of victims of sexual violence persists, the Commission may resort to frequent use of in-camera hearings, closed summer sessions, summer hearings, as provided or stipulated in Section 16(4)(b) of the TRRC Act 2017 as a witness protection measure to safeguard the security and well-being, to safeguard their security and well-being. Where necessary, the Commission will not hesitate to take appropriate measures against anyone who threatens or interferes with a witness in violation of Section 36 of the TRRC Act 2017, as that constitutes a criminal offense. Therefore, the Commission urges members of the public to be empathetic, and supportive of victims of sexual violence and desist from harassing and intimidating these courageous individuals. That's the end of the statement. We will resume our proceedings tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Yeah.